Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 26th of June 2010.
Wait, hang on.
I'm your host Ed Train, joining me today, Rob again.
Shouldn't Zach have done the intro?
And Zachary Burgess.
What?
Yeah, we've decided you're doing the intros now, so you now have to start.
No, awesome.
Go on.
Ready? Take two.
Take two. I'll just do the one that I did on my video. Hello, Internet.
Good ears, everyone. Hello, Internet. And yes, this is our podcast.
Yeah, not a video.
This is our podcast with people on it, which we like to call the Saladcast. It's a name.
With people.
With people. It's got people on it rather than autonomous beings.
Yes. Robot podcasters of the future, take notes. This is how we did it.
This is game. Game is shit. Moving on.
That's that Robbot.
Robot.
Robbie the robot.
I am Robot. I serve pizza from my belly.
And then eat it so it goes back into my belly and then comes out again.
It's perpetual pizza.
You've got like a pizza oven in your butt. That's everything that goes down.
Serving.
Oh, lovely. Still probably better than stuffed crust.
What?
I'm anti-stuffed crust, definitely.
You're anti-stuffed crust?
It's the processed cheese.
How long have you been anti-stuffed crust? And we've got it every week.
Yeah, but I've always said...
He always has the one that's not stuffed crust.
Yeah.
Have you not noticed?
Have you not noticed this?
That happened once, I thought. We normally always get stuffies.
Normally he's
I
not
don't
here.
think that's true. Yeah,
that is true, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And what's the Domino's equivalent where you have the double...
The Dominator.
I can't stand those.
Dominator
I
boost.
love the Dominator.
And they just
So
slide
sickly.
apart. Yeah, it's
No, that's
sickly.
Double Decadence that does that. The
Oh, so
Dominator
it's
is more sort of... I don't know, it's hard to describe. The Double Decadence is quite literally two pizza bases with in a sauce sandwich kind of thing, whereas the Double Decadence is like a more cheesy sauce and it's kind of baked into the base, which is so it makes it a lot more stable.
Right. And stuffed crust, is that only available at Pizza Hut?
It's only available at Pizza Hut or from Chicago Town, like freezer boxes.
I think that's why, because we always used to go to Domino's and now we started going to Pizza Hut more.
Yes, because they have better online deals.
I can't help laughing at your crazy moustache situation you've got going on today. For those of you that can't see,
Which is all of
our
you.
listeners, it's got a sort of 70s, what do you call that?
It's a Lemmy bar.
Yeah, it's a Lemmy style Motorhead. You're just missing the huge wart that he has on the side of his face.
Oh, no, I'm not envious of that bit.
Yeah, but you're pretty much Lemmy the bass.
Well,
Player
yeah,
Motorhead.
I kind of just woke up and then it's like, oh, I need a shave. And
He woke up and then it was just like that.
something happened in the night.
Oh dear.
I woke up and I was like, oh, I need a shave. And no one was like, you totally have to leave a tash. And I'm like, better than that. I'll leave handlebars.
Okay. Excellent.
This is for one day only. No one will see. In fact, Gnome was quite reluctant to let me out of the house with it. So.
Yeah. Funny within these walls, but beyond, it's just embarrassing.
It is strange running my hand across it and finding just patches of beard. I mean, obviously that must be the norm for people with goatees and shit, but it is kind of strange to just feel a slight rim of hair.
Really strange. So, what's this podcast about, Zach? I can't remember. Is it about pizza? Or,
Yeah, but it's about pizza, moustaches, and biscuits. Clearly.
Okay. I really can't remember.
It's actually about video games.
Yeah, video games. So, shall we start with the classic question? Who wants to go first this week?
You probably need to,
Okay,
because we always
I go
not
first.
have you go first and then you go last and then
Okay.
no time left.
So, I've been playing
La Noire.
La Noire.
Still.
Some more La Noire. So, I'm getting through LA Noire.
Is it not finished yet? Or are
no.
you on the expansions? Pre-order things.
Well,
whatever.
that's the interesting thing. The DLC stuff slots into the game, so it doesn't go after. It just extends the game.
You must have already gone past those points by the time you got that.
Yeah, so you'd have to go back if you hadn't gone past.
Yeah, but had you gone past?
Not for the ones that I downloaded, because they were in the later desks.
Oh.
So the one I downloaded that I played was in the Vice desk that I was on. I've just got to the end of that, but it just slotted right in there in the middle.
Oh.
And actually was quite good and added quite a lot to it filled out some sort of characterization because in that case it was quite a long case, and it had some old from characters from previous deaths old partners that you'd worked with. They all came back and started talking about each other and stuff, and it was quite an interesting case. You could see. So without it obviously adding much to the overall story, because it was a drop-in, it actually was quite illuminating, which was quite nice. Rather than it purely being just a case and it all about the story of the case, it had extra stuff about the characters in the police force that you were with.
They have said that there's still quite a few more cases to go, though, isn't there? Including one on traffic desk, so there will be some backtrack.
Yeah, so I'll have to backtrack for that one. But the next one is on the last desk, I think, the Nicholson electroplating, is it? Or the one where
the pre-order bonus.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's the one I did. I can't remember. No, there's one which has a big explosion, which is coming out next week or something.
Woo!
And that'll be in the arson desk, obviously, because we're investigating the arson. But then also Reefer Madness is in the Vice desk. So I have.
Wait, so I thought Vice desk was the last desk.
No, the arson is the last desk, and you have to wonder why that is.
Yeah, why is arson better than Vice?
That's why you want to.
You get massive demotion.
Indeed.
Well, it's because in the 1940s people didn't care so much about drugs.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Well, I mean, the government didn't care. They didn't put all the money into
the war on
drugs.
Vice. Well, a lot of the drugs in this that you're investigating in the Vice stuff is all army surplus morphine. It's this big shipment that got hijacked.
Vice
and
was
stuff.
hose and shit, not drugs.
It's both, I think.
Hose and shit. Good description.
I still think that.
I'd love it if that was on your like
on your police van. Vice.
Well, they call it advice, and I think ad is short for administrative. I'm not sure quite why.
They give you advice on Vice.
Advice.
That kind of makes sense. It's the people that do all the admin of the Vice-related stuff, so the suppliers, I guess. It's like...
I guess, yeah.
I'm administering pure Vice.
And you got to stop them. Yeah. No, it's going well.
Clamp down on those hardware stores. Do you see what I do? Clamp down.
Did you know that was a joke, or did you very quickly
afterwards
realise? Let's make a joke out of that.
Nice little puns.
So yeah, it's going well. Still the facial stuff is still really awesome, and
Vice and facial.
Yeah, you get the. He's trying to make some kind of link there. But there are more sort of action-oriented cases later on, and the big one at the end of Vice has you going all over town to lots of different shootings and having lots of action sequences and stuff, and they work fine. I was struck that earlier on I was thinking that I ought to mention that Assassin's Creed often has these sections where you have to tail someone through the streets and blend into the crowd, and they keep turning around and looking for you, and then walk off, and then you have to carry on following them. And if you get spotted, you fail, or whatever. And they're quite good, although they happen a bit too often at the start of Brotherhood, I found. Anyway, but I was thinking that stuff would be perfect for LA Noire, wouldn't it? Of following people through the streets, and then stopping and hiding.
That is true.
And stuff. And then I was thinking, why don't they put that in there? And then, of course, the next time I played it, it was in there. But it wasn't quite as polished, let's say, as Assassin's Creed, because you could do the kind of going incognito thing that you could do in Assassin's Creed, where you sit on a bench and read a newspaper, and you could look in shop windows, which made you
cut
invisible.
holes in the newspaper.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because it's third person, you can just see around you anyway, can't you? It's the classic trick. It's the same in Assassin's Creed. You hide behind a wall, your character couldn't possibly see, but since it's third person, you can still see around the corner. It's a staple of stealth, isn't it? Since sort of Splinter Cell 1 or Metal Gear Solid, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's quite awkward compared to Assassin's Creed. It did work, but it's like you can't do that blending into the crowd thing, of course, because that's an Assassin's Creed mechanic, which is quite integral, isn't it? But that would have been quite good to have in the sort of tailing sequence. Because I thought...
Makes less sense than Assassin's Creed, though. It's like, look at me in my stupid clothes, I'm totally blending in.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 1940s, where it's like, look at me, I'm just a guy.
Yeah, everyone looks like... Yeah, you would totally blend in as Detective Phelps, because you're not even in a policeman's uniform, you're just in a sharp suit or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could blend in quite nicely, whereas in Assassin's Creed, yeah, it is a bit silly. When they first introduced Assassin's Creed 1, they showed that video, and you, like, blended in with a load of monks who also had white cows, and that actually made sense. Ever since, you could just blend in with whoever the hell's on the street. But I did keep failing that sequence because in LA Noire, because it was just slightly awkward getting the distance right. Because if you hang back too far, he starts complaining that you're going to lose them. But they get more paranoid the closer you get to them. So it's actually best to tail them at the extreme end of the length of the distance you're allowed, because you're less likely to be spotted that way. And it's quite annoying because they'll cross the street and then you'll have to wait for the traffic lights, or you could just run across the street, Grand Theft Auto style, but then all the cars start beeping their horns and stopping, and then they'll turn round because they hear the commotion, which is quite clever, but kind of annoying. You're trying to tail someone. Yeah. But yeah, it was good. It added a bit of variety. I thought, why don't they do that? And then they totally did. So yeah. But the character movement in L.A. Noire is quite awkward, which makes things like that more difficult compared to Assassin's Creed. Because the thing is, it's the same when you're walking around looking for clues. Obviously, it has the kind of Grand Theft Auto engine character movement. And Yahtzee said in his review that it's like moving characters is like driving cars in the Grand Theft Auto kind of engine. It's the same in Red Dead, isn't it? You
drive your man.
You drive your man a bit. But I kind of respect there's a good reason why it is like that in Grand Theft Auto and subsequent games, is because they obviously made a decision when they were making GTA 4 that your character and your character's car or whatever isn't a special case in the world, and that it must follow the same physical rules as everything else in the physics model. So your character actually has proper momentum, and that's why he leans the way he does when he runs and turns, and that's why he has to slow down and he can't instantly change direction. Like many other games would have your guy just be a special case in the world, wouldn't they? Where you don't have... So I respect their decision, but in the case of L.A. Noire, it's more detrimental than it is in GTA, because it is quite awkward just walking around a crime scene looking for clues, because your guy you have to slow your guy up. Just like you would... Because when you're really walking around in the real world, you are doing all those things, but it's all unconscious and stuff, and you have much more fine-grained control than you do just with a control stick, because you can lean and you can put your weight on your... Like if you're playing tennis and you're running one way and you suddenly have to turn the other way, then you instinctively put your foot out further, don't you, so that you can press up against it like a spring and go the other way. But trying to model that for a character in a computer game that you're controlling just with a stick is quite hard to do. But it does mean you end up sort of bumping into things and not being able to walk through a bloody door, which happened a few times in Red Dead. I don't know about you, but I couldn't get through the door. Yeah. I just kept walking from one post to the other. Like, go through the door.
We actually have to take a run up at this door just to get through it.
I know, it's ridiculous, but I see why they did it, and I like... That's one of my favourite things about Grand Theft Auto 4 is the way that everything just works based on the rules of the world rather than being specially programmed. Like if you drive your car up onto the pavement, you can see the shocks on your car, and the wheel go up, so it's actually on the level of the pavement, and the other wheel's on the level of the road. And that's all being done because the wheel is a real physical object that's attached to the car by a shock and spring combination, and it's all real, in the world or whatever, so they didn't have to do anything special to make that happen because it's all set up. So, and then you can do crazy things like mod it so that you turn off the friction and all the cars go crazy, but they still act like they would in the real world if friction didn't exist, don't they? That's why you can have that crazy stuff.
No, what was it? That stuff was negative friction, wasn't
it?
So the videos online are exaggerating any acceleration you put onto it, because friction causes it to go even faster.
Yeah, it's completely insane. Rather than slowing things down, it just speeds things up. So yeah, but for the case of L.A. Noire, like all this amazing physics, and all you're doing is wandering around a room, and you start to think, well, maybe they should have just had a normal character movement in a computer game for this.
Well, yeah,
But,
it's
you
the
know.
same argument that Heavy Rain had, didn't it? There was
Yeah.
no need for them to have a drive your bloke system
Yeah.
in Heavy Rain.
I mean, it's not quite as extreme as driving your bloke. I mean, it is still, fairly standard movement. It just feels a bit awkward, but I see why they did it that way. One thing I was thinking, I was talking to Laura about this, and you find the clues because your controller vibrates whenever you go near them. You can turn it off, but it is quite helpful. And often, because you've got this momentum, it'll vibrate, and before you can stop, you've walked past the bit, so you have to walk back, and it'll vibrate again, and then you walk past it. So it's like trying to get your guy to park in the sweet spot, so you end up tapping the button constantly, and then when it vibrates, you hope you've tapped it just as it vibrates, and then you get to see the clue. And it's like
It's kind of what you used to do with old school RPGs, wasn't it? You'd walk around trying to find the
Yeah.
things you could interact with because they weren't obvious.
well, in old school adventure games, you just clicked on every area of the screen
Yeah.
until you could find something clickable, and this is kind of the modern equivalent. And we were thinking that because it is a bit weird, the vibrate thing, because the very first clue you find is extremely odd, because often it'll vibrate when there's something obviously on the floor and you'll bend down and look at it. But the first clue in the game, you're sort of wondering, it vibrates, you press it, and he looks up at this window, and there's this gun inside the window, like 2 stories up or something. It's like, how did he see that? Like, I wouldn't have been looking up there, and it just vibrated, and I pressed the button, and my character magically found this gun way up in the sky. But yeah, I was wondering why they didn't do the old Grim Fandango thing, which
With
is
the head looking.
the head looking, because he doesn't look. And it would be so natural to have your character just look towards clues that he found interesting, and then press the button to interact with what you're looking at. Maybe in addition to the vibration. But it seems like that would have been an elegant solution. I mean, it worked well in 1998.
Well, surely the elegant solution here is just make the hotspots bigger.
Well, maybe, yeah. Often they're quite close together though, because it's quite cramped environments sometimes in those little apartments and stuff. So,
Well, perhaps they should have taken more of a leaf out of the Shenmue book, and that when you come across tables and cabinets and things like that, they sort of go into a zoomed view of the cabinet when you get there, and then you can investigate each bit of it.
well,
And it's
yeah, because the way it would work in LA Noire was you'd go up the cabinet, it would vibrate, you'd press the button, and then you'd get the very zoomed view,
yeah.
and then you'd open the drawers and stuff, but it wouldn't go straight in until you'd press the button. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you still had to press, but it just seemed a bit, it wasn't difficult to do. It's just like, here cabinet, push button. Stuff on cabinet, push button.
Yeah,
Drawers, push button.
yeah. Well, it's actually quite similar to Shenmue in that way, and especially in the way that it zooms very heavily into objects in the world.
Yeah.
Like, that is very Shenmue, and it really does, because they must put a lot of detail onto, because you really see your hand incredibly close up, like when you're holding things and looking at them and examining them, and yeah, it's good. Further in, you get more things to investigate in objects. Often there'll be something that you'll need to find that it doesn't meet the eye at first, and yeah, it's definitely the clues stack up and stuff. Yeah, so I'm getting through that. Any questions about LA Noire?
Well, how far do you think you are now? Is the arson desk like the last desk?
Yeah, the arson desk is the last desk.
So it must be nearly there.
Yeah, so I'm getting towards the end. The overall story is interesting, but I still don't really know exactly what's going on. You know what I mean? It's got a lot of flashbacks to World War II, and of course you're never going to find out what your character did until the very end, are you? And,
Like, what could the payoff possibly even be?
well, supposedly the ending's really bad. That's what Yahtzee said and everything.
Right.
I don't know the context of this, but apparently it's running around with a flamethrower, which is like not really.
I did hear that.
Yeah, it's not like what LA Noire ought to be about, is it? Let's face it.
So maybe
That's
you're
not
just getting
its
to
strength.
play a flashback then.
Well, that's what I was wondering, whether it would be in World War II, but who knows? Well, I shall find out. But yeah, it's pretty good.
It just doesn't seem like there is a a story that goes through the game that isn't this flashback? Like, what is his progression through this? Is like he's getting promoted to the different desks, but
there's two threads going
going?
through because you've got the thread of his flashbacks, which happens, but also
we have spoiler alerted some of this.
Not really. I don't know. You get the thread of his flashbacks, which goes after every case, pretty much. You get, well, not everyone, but often you'll get a flashback thing. But then within the cases, there are these newspapers that you find, and they tell you the story of the other thread, which your character is unaware of. Right. So it's about people who I think were in his unit in the war, but they've come back and they've got involved in this morphine shipment and all this stuff and crime, and there's this weird doctor, like psychologist guy who is very creepy, and he's
you like drugs?
He is a bit like that, yeah.
You want the drug?
He has this weird southern accent, I think it is, like a drawling sort of...
Boy, want some drugs?
No, I don't know, it's a sort of refined, like, southern gentleman kind of accent. Anyway.
Boy.
So clearly what the end of the result is going to be is, like, this whole game it's like the flashbacks weren't flashbacks, it's the entire game was like a psychotic episode that he was having during World War II, where he imagined he was a 1940s detective.
Yeah, and brought on by the drugs being given to him by this weird doctor. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
That would be sweet. And
then at the end you just run around with a flamethrower. That's like the end of Call of Duty where you're on that plane. It's just suddenly a totally different game for no apparent reason.
It's one of those like snap moments. He just wakes up and he's like, motherfucker!
It just goes crazy with the flamethrower. Yeah. Yeah, I finally got to... So this last case, I've met the doctor in person. So it's all starting to come together at long last. But I still don't really know what's going on. I wish I could go back. I'm not sure if I can go back and view those newspapers that I found. Because you look at a newspaper and then it spins into a video sequence.
Alright.
So... It goes spinning newspaper. Yeah. What one that rotates really fast towards your face?
Creates a film.
Yeah, film. This newspaper's of the future.
I feel like I learned something.
Yeah. So that's getting there. What else do I want to say about Noire?
Is it supposed to have an E on the end, like Yahtzee pointed out?
Yes, it does have an E. I'm not sure why you need an E on the end of noir.
I didn't think that was how you spelt noir. Like,
not in French, no.
Like even like film noir. Or...
I don't think so. No. I have seen it spelt with an E on the end before this, but I don't know why. Or...
Noire.
Noire. La Noire. Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Whoop.
Whoop for that.
Game.
Other games I've been playing. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, still going through that.
Naturally.
Yeah, there's a lot to that game, again. That's a big game, just like 2 was. I mean, you thought it was going to be this expansion pack, and it's easily as big as 2, I think.
To its detriment, or...?
No, I mean, there's a lot to it. The thing that's annoying me about it is that 100% thing again. I don't know why they really... I can see why they added that in, but for perfectionists like me, it's really irritating.
Was this the full synchronization?
Yeah, full synchronization, yeah. Because I've done 2 of the Leonardo's War Machines missions lately. There's one using... And I did speculate whether there would be a Leonardo's tank mission, and there totally is.
Sweet.
And you get to drive the tank, and that is awesome. But the problem is, if you get shot once in the tank, you lose full sync, and you have to go all the way back to the start of the mission to if you want to try it again. And that means going through a stealth section, going through a combat section, going through a platforming section, and then there's the tank section.
Jeez.
And if you get hit once in that final arena... I literally got hit in the last second of the mission, and then you have to go back 20 minutes or something if you want 100% sync. And I then discovered that there is no achievement for getting 100% sync of the whole game. So there's literally nothing that is apart from your own OCD-ness that means that you have to get 100% sync.
Unless there's something in the game. not
No,
an achievement.
the closest thing is you need 70% sync overall in order to unlock the last Christina mission, apparently. But I'm already at 60%, I think.
So basically, it's totally lame.
It's totally pointless.
So why do they do that? I mean, this
don't
is
know.
falling into like the GTA 4 camp of an irritation and and the lack of checkpoints mid-mission on most missions.
Well,
And
it doesn't have... Yeah, I mean, in that case it does, yeah. That's really bad. I mean,
That's terrible.
well, the thing is that's not technically correct, because it has checkpoints all through the mission, but the checkpoints are irrelevant to the 100% sync. So if you lose 100% sync and then checkpoint and then quit and go back in, it will put you back in, but there's no way you can get that sync back. You see what I mean?
Suck.
So it does checkpoint you all the way through, but if it just made it so that you could go back when you lost 100% sync,
like a Halo revert to last save, but make it so it lets you do it.
it lets you try the 100%, because it just remembers that you've lost the sync.
That's bad.
It's really weird. Anyway, so...
I mean, there's a sort of... There's a certain ultra-hardcoreness to it, but which some people, I guess, will appreciate, but I think the majority of people are just going to be seriously pissed
It's
off.
not skill-based, though. It's arbitrary, I think. The requirements they choose for the 100% sync are fairly arbitrary. Sometimes they're a fun little extra challenge to do. It's like almost an inbuilt achievement.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, stun the guard with a smoke bomb before you kill him to get 100% sync. And a little challenge like that on a really short mission, like the ones that set up the Leonardo's Machines missions. Every Leonardo's Machines missions, you have to get the sort of map to the location, and you get that just by killing one guy. It's called War Plans, and they're really fun because it's just one assassination, and it always have a little extra challenge on that 100% sync, like you have
do it
to,
in this way.
kick him or something, or do it, or kill him with the hidden blade or whatever. And
those are fine.
That's nice.
That's kind of because it forces you to mix it up, which is
great. But then the next mission is literally the big Leonardo's War Machines mission, and then they do something like that, and it's the same thing with the Flying Machine 2.0 mission, which is where you get the flying machine back, but this time it's got a gun on it. But if you get hit by flaming arrows at any point, which is right at the end of this 20-minute mission, then you lose sync, and I lost sync again on that one. Even though it should theoretically be quite easy to do, but I just messed up, and I don't know.
it's still pretty lame.
The fact that you have to go all the way back, which is a shame, because it undermines the fact that those missions are both really cool. Like, driving the tank is hilarious, is awesome. And the whole mission before that, with the stealth and getting in there, and especially the Flying Machine 2.0, it has like a fortress, a castle that you have to infiltrate, and it's a really hard sort of stealth mission, and it's really fun to do. Although it was quite hard to know, because you had to get to the central keep of the castle, and it was hard to know which towers you had to jump to in order to actually get to the point. Yeah, so there was a tiny bit of wood sticking out that you had to have noticed, because that was clearly the way to get there. And there are guards everywhere, so you had to make sure that you eliminated them before you attempted jumping across.
No matter how much I hear about Assassin's Creed, it's still just... There's something not appealing about it. There just seems to be as many faults as there are good things to it. And then, like, the problem is that a lot of the faults I hear about seem to be ones that I know would quite wind me up.
I mean, if you were completely laid back, you could just ignore that 100% sync thing completely, and then you'd just enjoy the game a lot more, I think, probably. So,
well, the weird thing was, for the brief period of time I was playing the first game, so like some of the actual sort of bit of the game I kind of enjoyed the most was just flag collecting, which is like such a pointless bit of the game. And it's
I like that
kind
too.
of like just traversing and trying to hunt them down. It's like
and in 2,
the actual combat I found really irritating.
And I don't know about 1, presumably it's the same, but in 2 and Brotherhood, you buy maps for treasures from the art shops or whatever, and then it shows you on your map where the treasures are, and then you just have to go around collecting them from all the high up buildings and odd spots and stuff. And I just find that quite relaxing, just traversing the world, finding them and picking them up.
Now, do they do the thing like where it's where they absolutely tell you where they are, or is it like an area-based thing? Because I think almost those sort of games would lend themselves better to sort of like, it's in the vague vicinity kind of thing. And
well, the treasure ones are fairly precise, but of course, because it's 2D, you don't know what level they are or what side of the building, because the icons are quite big. But then the feathers or whatever, and all the Borgia flags, which you get in Brotherhood, which are kind of the equivalent, you can't buy maps for those, so you have to just literally find them. But it does have that cool mechanic of you can hear a kind of tinkling sound when you're near anything like that.
I didn't think the first one had that. I think it just sort of...
It's quite nice. That was in 2. But of course, going back to what you said about the combat, obviously that's much, much improved since 1. I mean, it's pretty slick now. Provided you remember what you're doing. I keep going to another game and then I've forgotten what all the mechanics are for the combat. I get totally slaughtered, and then the next time I try it, I don't lose a single bit of health because I've remembered all the tricks.
Are the PC versions released with games for Windows support?
I don't know.
I'm just wondering, because there are PC versions, aren't they, of all the Assassin's Creed games?
I think so. I mean...
Because a bit of me, as I say, I've got this, like, duality to my opinions on it. You know, like, I'm quite intrigued, but at the same time, I'm pretty certain I won't like them, so maybe when a Steam Christmas deal comes up, I might...
Well, you could just borrow 2 off me, actually. I'll lend you 2.
Oh, yeah, that could
Yeah, I'll lend you 2.
After I finish my backlog.
Yeah.
Which is going to be never.
Yeah.
But you should totally...
I really shouldn't buy any games at the moment. Oh, but Generations will be out soon, won't it?
You're excused on that one. Maybe because that would be like 3 hours.
That's a Sonic
Yeah,
game.
true.
It has to be done.
It won't be long.
So, yeah. Should we talk about that since I played that?
The Generations
Sonic
demo.
Generations demo. Yeah, have a quick round table about that, because you've just
I just
played a bit of that. What do you guys think?
As usual, I'm quite up and down about it. Yeah, actually, it's one of those ones where the feel is quite nice. It's hella fast, and visually it's quite nice. But the almost hella fastedness, especially of old Sonic, it's been exaggerated a lot more than what old Sonic was. It wasn't that fast. In the previous.
Yeah.
And there's something about the visual combination that makes seeing what's going on a bit tough.
Yeah, I think it zooms out too far.
I think it zoomed in too far. I think it's the opposite. I think it's zoomed in, especially at the start of the level. I think it's quite zoomed in, and actually spotting the rings you're picking up at the start of the level, which is, the fundamental part of Sonic.
Okay, it's both, and it's both of those. It's both zoomed in too much sometimes so you can't see what's coming, and it's zoomed out sometimes so you can't see him because he's too small. But then it's also a matter of, like, now that it's this, like, new and improved version of Green Hill where everything looks all fancy and stuff, that just makes it really difficult to see the things that are on your plane because there's so much shit in the background.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem, is that the background is too busy, so telling it from the foreground is a bit of a challenge. They should have perhaps had a very, very slight fade in colour to sort of highlight the difference between areas you can interact with in the background, perhaps.
Or a focus effect.
Yeah, or a focus would be nice, yeah.
Or just make the rings ridiculously glowy or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rings do need to be a bit more standy out, I think.
Yeah.
They look like they're made of actual gold rather than
Yellow
super
glowy.
Special glow,
yeah.
I think my biggest problem with it is that they haven't, and I mentioned this with Unleashed and Sonic Colors, is that they still haven't got the concept of Sonic works best at 60 frames. It's like, it's a fast game, you need frame rate. It's like Sega are never going to be the graphical masters, so why try? Make the game stylish graphically, go for the aesthetic and the speed.
I mean, the graphics of it look nice, but they don't look so nice that they couldn't make it 60 frames.
Well, no, I said this about Unleashed. It's like the Hedgehog engine, which it's running on, is actually quite nice. It's not actually that bad looking, and Sega kind of have a bit of a right to sort of say, "Oh, this is our engine, check it out." But Hedgehog engine, it should be lightning fast, and with that comes frame rate, and that's the one thing it isn't. It's it's a bit. I think that most of the problems we said of being able to see stuff would just go away if that was...
Oh yeah, frame rate would help, I guess.
Yeah. But, they've built it on Hedgehog engine. It's not going to run at 60, because Hedgehog engine never has run at 60 in the past, and for some reason they just seem reluctant to do so. It's like even Sonic Colors, which wasn't exactly graphically amazing, runs at 13. You're just like, why did you do that? Bah.
So what did you think of the gameplay, though?
Actual gameplay's fine. It's,
It's Sonic.
I was still
no bad thing.
I was still trying to do homing attacks.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, oh wait,
You'll be able to do that when you're in New Sonic.
When you're in modern
well,
Sonic.
yeah, but his, he'll be all weird angles.
That's true. I was trying to do that as well. I've got so used to it now. that it's...
It's not like I even played Sonic 4 or anything, which had that weird hybrid where you could like do the boost in midair if there wasn't a homing target.
Someone should mod the homing into like Sonic 3 for a laugh. That'd be quite funny.
I don't think there's anywhere that you'd actually be able to use it because the enemies aren't the point of Sonic 3 most of the time.
No. Well, they're not generally the point in most Sonic games anyway. Although there does seem to be quite a few enemies in this.
Yeah, but in this they're all like they're just like they're not doing anything. They're just like in a precise line with you, so you just mow through them for no.
Well, no, there's a couple where if you get caught, there's one section of the level, like one of the routes where you get caught, and there's one of those crab meat guys who starts firing missiles at you, which just kind of go bugger. Like, but he fires quite often.
Yeah,
well, I guess there was one where if you actually jump up and hit him, you bounce off him into a shortcut.
Yes, there's one nice bit where there's like a chain of enemies, and if you hit the first one, you go boom, boom, boom.
That's where you want the homing attack, of course.
but it sort of does it if you've got your right speed, and you just hit the first one, you just sort of bounce up them, which is kind of cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's like, I have to say, the level design is actually pretty clever.
Too short.
It's the first act.
I know, but how many acts are there going to be?
Presumably they'll follow the 3-act structure.
That would still be too short.
Or unless they're following the colours structure, which was like 6 acts.
Yeah, as long as they do that for modern and old Sonic.
That's true. Yeah, there might be only 3 acts per era, per stage.
I don't know. I mean, that act just seemed way too short. I mean,
it's the classic to make
it's meant to be a minute long, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The first act is always meant to be short, and then after that, don't make them short. Yeah, that's fine. Look,
and it was quite dense in terms of design, lots of routes.
There's a lot of routes.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with extras, if they're going to do what they did in, or started to introduce in the GBA and Rush games, where there's, side things. I always quite liked see if you can get all of the secret coins in the level in one run, stuff. So it meant you had to take a certain route.
Oh yeah, but because that's where it's normally what you do is you just find the one route that's fastest and always go that route.
Well, yeah.
That's where it's like when they introduced the idea of time trials, really, especially in Rush, where it's just try and find the best route through the level, find where you hit the tricks at the exact precise route that gets you through it quickest.
Yeah, but they had those things, didn't they? Where there was and Rush Adventure, where they had the flag. Was it flags? Where you had to hit the right flags in the right order, and that meant not just getting the route right, but hitting the targets.
Yeah, I think so.
They were kind of tricky, but they were nice. There was a nice extra thing to do. It'd be interesting to see if they go down that road, because they seem to have abandoned it slightly, because Unleashed did have extra mini missions you could do, defeat this number of enemies before the end of the level, or get this number of rings before the end of the level, that kind of stuff. But they didn't really change how you played the level.
Right.
That's the point. You just run through it anyway. And it's so it'd be nice to see if they can figure out different ways of reusing the same levels, because they've obviously built them with more options this time. At least for old style Sonic. They might struggle with modern Sonic, but
yeah, I don't think there's any other routes than that.
Although weirdly, the little demo trailers they've shown make it seems that the problems I have with the visuals don't seem to matter so much in the modern Sonic style. I don't know, from what I've seen so far, everything seems that little bit easier to see in modern Sonic style.
Well, yeah, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
But that could just, as I say, it's pure conjecture from the trailers. But also, let's hope that song they use in the trailer, the Kelly song, is
Well, you want that?
I fucking love that song. So it just kind of suits Sonic. I don't know, it sort of does.
It does suit that trailer.
Because I watched a video of someone playing the Green Hill Modern, and it's really dumb because virtually the first thing he does is he boosts down the thing, hits a jump, and he does that weird kind of off-centered rotation thing where he flies through the air and kind of loops around a non-centered, not where his center of gravity would be. He's like, whoop, and then immediately, and this is 5 seconds into the start of this level, he does this weird off-centered looping jump and then clips through a tree. It's quality control, lol.
So what was this? A pre-alpha?
I don't know. It must have been It must have been. I think it was before E3, but it was probably at one of those other, presentation conference things where they had it playable, both versions of the first Green Hill bit.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I've actually seen modern Sonic boost mechanic and stuff.
Yeah, which is, it looks pretty much the same as the Unleashed style.
Yeah. And you, although it seems like it's like you just gain boost from picking up rings and killing enemies.
Yeah,
and it's just like
and the occasional power boxes that just give you boost bar.
Well, I'm sure, but it's the classic thing where it's just looks like the old school the old Rush or whatever style of just like you just want to boost all the time. That'll be all that game is about, of course. It's just be like making sure you hit enough stuff so you can boost the entire whole level.
Although Unleashed did have a nice balance between just solid boosting and actual requirement of control in places.
Well, because it was like there's this bit in this run through that I saw where where the guy playing it screws up and he goes down onto these platforms, but you can see just above it there's just basically a straight rail, so it's if he jumped at that exact moment he just would have boosted straight across it. But it's like that's not enough of an alternate route. It's not like Rush where there are literal alternate routes.
No, it's like just a shortcut to stop you from going into a time wasting section.
Yeah,
and then you end up back on the same route.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's virtually any split paths or anything.
Modern Sonic does have that issue because Modern Sonic often has set piece parts of the level. I mean, Generations did Old Sonic and Generations demo did have a few bits like that. Like I don't think that the corkscrew is avoidable, for instance, but because that's
right at the end of the level, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that is right at the end of the level, but I'm sure there's some bits of that level which are... there's a jump, isn't there? There's one bit where you sort of boost around and sort of go up a spiral, or
there's the spiral going down.
You turn a corner and then there's a jump section over a canyon or something, and then you land, and that's unavoidable.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's towards the sort of...
I mean, in the middle, there's the bit where you spiral down that rock pillar thing, where it goes out of the 2D plane for a minute to do a fancy camera angle.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's unavoidable.
So when does this game come out?
I don't actually know, but it'd be
I don't think it actually has a release date yet.
Well, it'd be stupid if it wasn't released soon, because otherwise they'd have kind of missed the sort of 20th anniversary sort of
That's true. They'll have to change their intro screen. No.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, they've been using that I think for the whole year so far. But it's like
all of their Sonic games that came out this year.
There's been none, but they've sort of been pushing that for sort of like woo for a while. So it'd be a bit dumb if they sort of missed the window by too much.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I'm sure it'll come out at the end of the year, presumably. Along with everything else.
Yeah.
Everything will come out.
Well, let's hope they hurry up. Because it would be nice if they actually just surprised us and said, it's done, and released it before they actually show us anything else. Because it's like, we're going to have to discover the stages ourselves.
So you don't know what all the other levels are.
Yeah.
Even though you do know what all the other levels are, because they're just levels from old games.
Well, no, saying that, I do know one other stage that's going to be in there, and that's... I forget what it was called, but it's the first level from Sonic Adventure 2 with the gun truck.
Oh yeah, I did see a video of that.
The sort of downhill snowboarding.
City Escape.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh right. Yeah.
So that's in there.
Which is weird.
The modern Sonic version of that just looks like a direct port.
well, yeah. I mean, that's what you'd expect because that is the modern. It's like that one is the reverse of of what you might think the whole concept of the game would be, where you've got the old levels and then you're making modern versions. Where in this one, you're taking a modern one and making an old version of it.
Yeah, well, that I reckon would be cool.
Yeah,
I'd more like to see things done that way round. I think than making modern versions.
That doesn't actually work very well for if you're trying to convert modern... It's like, just imagine if you were trying to convert any of the other, like, Sonic Adventure 2 levels back into the old school. Because that one it probably works okay, because it's like a city, and it's like, that's not very... It's like if you were trying to convert one of the space levels or something else on Adventure 2.
That's kind of easy as well, because I could just make it Scrap Brain Zone, sort of you...
But that would be the same.
Oh, no, the rail levels might be tough to redo, but...
But then because they can't do those.
But they choose not to do those.
Yeah, but I mean, they literally can't do those because old Sonic doesn't have railroading.
They'll just do that City Escape, I expect. From that game.
Oh, I remember the other one. That's also at the end of that preview of City Escape. They also do a teaser of another one. It's that what's it called from Unleashed, Spigonia or whatever. Fake Italy.
Oh yeah. That is Spigonia.
That's in there as well, which seems a bit legit. It's just like
Well, that's alright, that'll work.
But that means they've already shown, like, 2 modern levels and 1 old one. And it's like, I know.
Oh, yeah, but I
Does
want
that mean there's only going to be 3 of each then? to make up 6, and then the 7th one will be, like,
Well, we
something
don't know
special.
how many stages there are.
Well, yeah, but there's going to be 6. I mean, it's like, I don't... The City Escape and Spironicles, it's just like, I don't... Those aren't very interesting. They're just sort of generic cities.
I don't know, Spigonia was kind of the iconic one from Unleashed, though.
Yeah.
That was kind of the sort of poster child for Unleashed, was that level, because it was the one that showed off Hedgehog Engine the best. Like, it was, it had the long draw distance, high UA shots of the entire city laid out in front of you, and it's still running like a beast.
Yeah.
That kind of
so.
stuff. That was, they were the nicest looking levels of Unleashed. So that's probably why they pulled those in.
Mm.
It needs to be a 12-stage game there. 6 from old and 6 from new.
That's true. That would be good.
Well,
As long as Ice Cap's in there. I want to see Ice Cap.
Ice Cap's really boring and visually as well. It's just like, here's some ice.
Yeah, I know, but I always kind of liked that level from Sonic
Well,
3. And it had awesome music, which helps.
It sounds like they've got the old music in many cases, obviously for Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
But whether they'll do that with the others.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Of course
Yeah.
they'll do some kind of funky remix.
So we'll get some awesome...
The problem I had, the modern music from what they showed in the demos, though, is, it sounds a bit... I said this before, I'm sure, when we talked about it previously, but I don't like it.
It's got trumpets. What more could you want?
Well, no, but it's... I always think they take the Sonic music in the wrong direction quite often with their high ones. They got it right in colours because it was a suitable level of crazy most of the time. But I just want the Hideki Naganuma style Rush music back because that
was totally not Sonic music.
Yeah, no, it suits it though. It's not Sonic traditional, but it suits a modern view of it.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
really cool. Totally cool. Or just go full on electro. That works.
No, I don't think that would.
No, it would be cool.
So that's Sonic.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
That's what
Yeah,
I
It'd be good.
I think
quite
Sega. I
optimistic.
think Sega are learning what they did wrong.
I think so. At long last.
As long as they make,
Jesus.
as long as it's just the length is the one thing that they still need to learn. As long as they make it long enough.
Oh, they won't do that. But it'll be longer than the old ones. Well, let's put it this way: it'll be longer than Sonic 4.
Episode 1, yeah.
God damn.
Whether or not they'll ever make an episode 2, it's going to be like Penny Arcade.
They said they said they are.
Well,
They said
yeah.
it's basically done.
Yeah.
Well, hurry up and release it then, fuckers.
Yeah.
Have like a 20th jubilee. Like you could have. They could have
They
released.
don't want to release. The trouble is, it's
They
like
could have released 3 games at the same time because they've got Sonic Generations. They could have done Sonic 4 Episode 2, and Sonic All Stars Racing has just come out on iPhone. Apparently, it's pretty good.
well, yeah, I guess for an iPhone game.
Yeah.
But it's just like they don't. The trouble is that it's like they don't want. I'm not sure. I think there was some giant bomb was saying. I'm sure it was just them speculating as well. But
Typical.
they were saying like maybe they just don't want to release Sonic 4 Episode 2, so people can't compare how shitty its mechanics are to the new game.
Generations.
Well, there is that. They are quite similar. But then again, that didn't stop them with 4 and Colours, which pretty much had the same release window.
Yeah, but that's
I
on the Wii. It's like...
Well,
completely
true.
different
There are,
platform.
yeah, I guess it is.
It's not competing with itself.
True. But I guess if you're a real Sonic fan, you'll be buying Generations, and you'll be buying Sonic 4 as well.
We've been buying Sonic 4 Episode 2 because you already have Episode 1 if you're a real Sonic fan.
Well, I kind of hope they do what they did with Penny Arcade, and that the second episode was cheaper than the first, because it was just kind of like, well, the first one's you're in, so you
Yeah.
should start there. So there's like the high entry, and then
I doubt
if they make it 800 points, I'll be happy. It's like it shouldn't be 1200 points. I've said that a million times, but if they come in at the 800 point mark, then it will do well.
You should spend your 800 points on Res HD, man.
I should, but
I played some of that
Then you could
this
just
week.
buy it
Because I saw the quick look of Child of Eden on Giant Bomb, and it literally is Res, pretty much. I mean,
it's got some more weapon mechanics than
yeah. I mean, it's got a little bit more because it's got the kind of the rapid fire laser gun from Panzer Dragoon, but then it hasn't got the Panzer Dragoons, because Panzer Dragoon had quite a lot of mechanics, especially Auto, because it had you could speed up and slow down, and you could change form between 3 different forms, which were better at certain things. And then you had the lock-on gun and the rapid-fire gun for shooting down projectiles.
That's part of the
incoming.
forms,
Yeah, So yeah, and some were that was better in certain different forms, wasn't it? Like the rapid fire gun was.
Well, you only got the guns based on the form you were in.
That's right, something like that. So the heavy guy didn't have the rapid fire gun.
No, he only had lock-ons. Well, no, he did have a rapid fire, but it wasn't very rapid fire. It was the thing. It was you could still do the gun attack, but it was crap.
Yeah, that's right. So in Child of Eden, you've got those two on two different buttons, which strikes me a bit odd because I quite like the way it worked in Auto that you hold down the button to do the lock-on main missile attack, and then you just tapped it to get rapid fire.
I think it might have been a throwback from the Kinect implementation, which is one hand for rapid, one hand for lock-on.
Absolutely, yeah. So you've got the two different hands that way, but it seems I think you have to switch if you're using a controller in Child of Eden. You switch. Buttons.
It would have been interesting if they tried to do a dual stick implementation of that. So one stick is your rapid fire, one stick is your lock on.
Yeah. What with two reticles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that would have been. Maybe there's options, we haven't played it. But, I mean, it looks very pretty and stuff, but I don't know, because Res is still awesome, and the HD update is really nice, and I just kind of think that, despite the fact that Child of Eden has much more spectacular graphics, I kind of like the Res's sort of vector graphics, sort of Tron-y sort of look. It kind of suits the whole infiltrating the internet kind of thing more than the Child of Eden look.
Let's put this in a different way. It treats the old style view of the internet, I guess, and sort of computer networking and stuff in general. It's like, oh, everything's made of lines.
But I like that. It's good. It's all 80s and retro and crazy, and because the internet doesn't really look like any of these things.
Sure, but it's limited in its emotive power, I think, is the
That's
problem
true.
with it, which is what is against what they're going for.
Yeah. And the music in Res is a bit more hardcore than in Child of Eden.
Yeah, it's
a bit more
poppy
big
dance.
beats and a bit more
Well, yeah, Res tried to go for the approach where the background was often fairly minimalist to make an emphasis on the actions that you do, more of a musical influence. Whereas Child of Eden kind of sort of just. Well, it takes the route how most music games do, in fairness, which I'm not convinced is a great idea, but I'm not entirely sure it matters either, in that it's the actual background track is quite strong on its own, and the stuff you do in the world just happens to add to it.
I don't like that so much as because the Res has the very. I think Child of Eden does it as well, but it builds up the song very much from a very minimal. Starts out incredibly minimal, and then it goes through those sections, doesn't it? Where you fire at the level, and then you go into the next layer.
Layers.
Yeah, you go into the next layer, and it has that really exciting whoosh as it goes into, and you want to hear what they've added to their track. And I was looking at the space whale in Child of Eden, and that was cool and everything, but I don't think. Nothing is as exciting as that awesome running man boss from level 4 of Res.
Pretty cool.
That's just so good, and I went back and I played that, and the music in that builds up, and then when the running man comes in, it comes on with this awesome guitar lick. That's so great.
That's the level that doesn't. Yeah, there's sort of like the theme for that level is kind of just the entire level is a building.
Yeah.
It's like, and it doesn't really reveal itself until the end. Whereas a lot of the normal levels in Res have a sort of like the level builds, but then the boss is something different. It's like a different flavour.
It goes into a different Whereas that one is more of a climax, isn't it? It's just it's gone all the way up, and so good. I think by all means get Child of Eden, but I would recommend getting Res HD.
It's almost like a trailer. If you like Res, and then because let's be honest, both games are incredibly short.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredibly. And the only problem with Res was that you wanted more.
Yeah.
And quite a lot more of it. And
but at least now you're looking at
have the same problem. But if you buy Res, play it, love it, want more, you now can.
Exactly.
You can now have
They've
more.
made more, and it's great. But Res HD is what, 800 points?
Yeah.
Child of Eden is a full box game, is about the same length as Res, maybe shorter.
Yeah.
It's full price, right?
Yeah.
45 quid or whatever.
35 in this country.
Right, okay. It's not so bad, but still. And the Kinect stuff does look really cool. I don't have a Kinect though.
And a lot of people are saying that Kinect is the way to play.
Yeah,
because
fair
you
enough.
do get the full effect of what they're going for.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's basically the modern equivalent of the trance vibrator. That ridiculous thing.
Sort of.
Didn't they patch Res so it was compatible with the old trance vibrator controller?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not a really controller. It's just a
Well,
sort of
you know.
lump that plugs into your USB,
And
but
then
you
attached to your chest.
Yeah, but you could, or other places, supposedly, according to the internet.
This is not condoned.
That you could just plug it into the USB port of the 360. But you could just use any controllers as extra trance vibrators, can't you, in the Res HD?
Yeah, that's true.
Which is
You
great.
can just sell it.
You can just sellotape to your phone. What? Yeah, love a bit of Res.
It is properly cool. It's. I was one of those games where I kind of liked. Once you finished it, I took a very long time making sure I only played it in little bits
Yeah.
when I first got it to sort of say, "Oh, I'll build up to the end," and then you unlock that direct assault mode, so you didn't have to care too much anymore. So it's just like, "Oh, I'll just play through the entire game in one go,"
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, that's cool."
travelling mode and stuff as well, where you don't have any, can't get killed.
No, just messing about.
Yeah, but
There was that totally fucked up trance level. I don't know if you get that in Res HD, but in the PS2 version there was like a trance mode, which was just
in there.
crazy ambient sort of
Res
bleeps
HD
and bloops with no real tune.
Res HD literally has the original Res in it, so you can play it in old mode, or in HD mode, which is quite nice.
Well, it's
You can see how different
it's
it
the
is.
old graphical style. It's not the.
Yeah,
There are some differences between
yeah,
the original and HD.
yeah.
For instance, they get some of the keys wrong. I noticed from the demo.
Right.
A couple of the enemies don't play in the right key when you destroy them. It's like, that's wrong.
Oh dear. Well, but
I'm surprised they didn't try and tie it in with the. Oh, but I suppose Sega aren't involved anymore.
That's
are
the
they?
thing, yeah.
Sega hold the rights
It's
to
such
Res.
a spiritual successor, though. It
Yeah.
clearly is, and it does look good and everything. I like the little integration of FMV. Looks quite cool, actually. With that woman who appears at the end of every
Oh, I don't know,
level. Yeah, she's sort of the child of Eden, literally. The first child born in outer space or something that is now stored in the internet or something. Some nonsense. I don't know.
Keep my baby on the internet.
Well, all
You
her
did
memories
what?
have been stored on the internet.
Just imagine how much shit they'll be exposed to in their younger years. How many lolcats can they absorb?
Stream lolcats. Why don't they make another child Panzer Dragoon? That would be good. I liked Orta. They could make that with pretty awesome
they
graphics.
totally could. But then again, that's Sega, not Q.
Yeah, I'm not blaming them, but it's just like, damn it, make more Jet Set Radio, make more Panzer Dragoon.
They're too busy making Sonic.
I should. Oh, you know how I feel about this. They should totally bring back space rail shooters in general, or those sort of flying rail shooters, because there is a certain. They are quite retro now, but you could make some good downloadable titles following that route.
I mean, Panzer Dragoon Auto was not easy just because it was on rails.
No,
I mean,
it wasn't actually that small a game either.
no, it was a long game, and it's nice looking, and it had a good kind of. Because that world actually had quite a lot of
Massive amount of backstory
from that RPG they made.
Saga.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was just had a nice feel about it.
Yeah, it's great.
Auto.
You kind of get behind the character, even though you don't know what the fuck's going
on in an anime
There's
style.
sort of like that weird Abaddon alien dude who's a bit mental.
Yeah.
And there's obviously he's like an artificial creation or something. He's obviously conflicted with his own existence, so that makes an interesting storyline.
Yeah.
And then there's this ridiculous evil army to deal with as well.
Yeah, with crazy flying battleships.
And then they added on that whole extra sub-story you could play through as well, as a young soldier.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Who's an Imperial soldier who then ends up in the Resistance, so there's an awful lot of extras there as well.
There's a lot to that game, yeah.
To the point where it even had an encyclopedia built in so you could explore the world, and it's like, for a shooter, that's insane.
It was pretty epic, that game. And do you remember that level where your dragon got busted up and you ended up running along the snow-covered
cool.
ground? That was awesome.
That was a great level.
Just so good. Yeah.
I'm trying to type Panzer Dragoon into the tag list on my phone, but it keeps correcting it to Panda.
No, it's a Panzer.
Panda Dragoon.
That would be a ridiculous game. Riding a panda.
This is your new design.
Panda with wings.
Panzer Dragoon.
Only presumably you're on the phone like trying to dragoon the dragon, so you just have a panda dragon.
I wonder if, like, it seems like on rails is a dirty word now, because Peter Molyneux went
everything's
to
on rails!
all that lengths, didn't he? I suppose it's for the Kinect, everything's on rails, which is kind of...
Well, supposedly not,
Yeah.
but... Oh, when medieval Moves was on rails as well, or it looked like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's too much of a problem with it, because
No.
if you think of all the classic arcade shooter games...
There's too many of them at once. And not enough other stuff to pan it out.
Time
It's like
Crisis
that's
is
all
on
they show.
rails. Time Crisis is awesome.
But there's not gun games. If it was gun games, there'd probably be less problem with it.
That's true. God, I miss those.
I can't believe that Molyneux went to those lengths of getting all those people that came to see his game to sign on a board under the
And then they
statement,
didn't.
it's not on rails.
Yeah.
so dumb.
He's a crazy fool.
He's a crazy man.
Well, he obviously understood the impression the demo gave was... And he's
But
like,
it was on rails.
yeah.
Yeah. They got people to just...
Next.
Next.
I think we need to move along.
Okay.
Well, do you want to talk Eve then?
Well, we need to talk about several things that I've been
Okay.
doing.
Right, we'll move on to Zachary Burgess then. Zach, what have you been playing? That's all the
Oh,
stuff.
you got notes, have you?
Well, I usually do.
Oh, wait, I mean, you've actually got them here this time.
Well, I usually have them on my phone. I usually read them beforehand. So there you go, listeners. That's how
Behind the
podcast works.
scenes.
I haven't got anything in the
solution to
corrections
planning.
column section at the moment. That's all my,
Hooray!
that's all my fish that I've listed.
You listened to fish.
So I know we're not...
You need to start listing biscuits as
I
well,
know,
because we're
yeah.
going to forget.
I know.
List those biscuits. I wonder if there's a Wikipedia page on that. List of biscuits.
I'm sure there is.
What have you been playing, man, Zach?
Man,
Zach? Zach, man?
Man, Zach.
The man, Zach?
Well, let's start with the kind of news / what I've been playing.
Okay.
We need to talk about Team Fortress 2.
Okay,
apparently.
it's the Uber update. So...
And it's free!
Free for
Everyone can go and
everyone.
play it, so the servers can be full of noobs who don't know what the fuck they're doing and make all the teams unbalanced.
I knew you'd
Bugger.
start complaining
Yeah, but trust me.
immediately.
Well, it'll make it good for us for a bit.
Well, yeah, we'll be able to beat people down easier.
Has this
a
actually
while.
been borne out at all? Have you played since it's been free?
Yeah. I mean,
Are there noobs?
yes, and retarded spamming and all kinds of stupid shit.
This would be hilarious.
But basically, even before this update came out, I started to get to the point where I was just making it a rule where if the teams are totally unbalanced, I just move server. Even if it means I loop for, even if it means I go for about 5 different servers and then go back to the first one because they're all shit. It's just like, well, I'm just like, fuck this, I need to go and play on a server which is slightly more balanced.
There isn't much worse in TF than bad team balance, and the problem is I don't know what it is. I seem to remember the day there was a time where teams would players on teams would sort of try and balance it out themselves, and that doesn't really happen anymore. And it's kind of a bugger.
If people are winning, they just want to keep winning, don't they?
Well, and it's much more, of course, it's still a problem with new people because it's like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then it was like, there was on the news page, like PC Gamer did if you're new to Team Fortress 2, here's some information, and it's like the first thing you should do if you're the first class you should play is Medic because you just heal people. And it's like, apart from then when I was playing, it's like I'm spectating after I've died. It's like, and I'm spectating a Medic on my team, and he's like he runs up into a corner, and then he like stops and then very slowly rotates. It's like, oh shit, is he playing with a game van or something? Because it looks really bad. He just like runs up into the corner, stops, rotates really slowly, stands there, and he's like moving backwards and forwards slightly like he doesn't know what to do. And our team is like, and then some enemies come up the ramp and he's like, oh shit, enemies, I'll just stand in this corner, they totally won't see me. It's like, oh god.
Oh my god.
Well, no, I sort of agree with the Medic is probably easiest. The Soldier's probably one of the easier ones to understand.
Well, they say start with,
Theoretically.
in the PC Gamer opinion is start with Medic and then play Heavy.
That's quite a good
Heavy's quite
advice.
good. Although I didn't go when I first started playing TF, I didn't get on with playing Heavy because you become quite a sniper magnet, and that's quite off-putting.
Yeah.
At the start of it,
You become quite everything magnet.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
People get more intimidated by the big-looking heavy than they actually are warranted, because they're not actually as dangerous as they look sometimes.
well,
I mean, they are incredibly dangerous, but
It depends if you're playing on a server with crits on or not.
They're not necessarily...
If they get any crits, they fucking destroy everything.
That's true, but they're not
Random
necessarily
crits.
more dangerous than a soldier. You know,
No.
it all depends.
But yeah, so then the
Or
other
a demo
thing...
man.
I guess
They'll always look innocuous, and yet they're always the most dangerous.
Well, yeah. But, so, it's this, like, the Uber update and everything, and making it free. But then the main thing about the update, of course, is all the new shit that they put.
Yeah,
weapons.
so we go through that, because I can't remember.
Well, let's start with the map, because
Okay.
they put in a new payload map.
Hooray!
It's called Bombblitz.
I love payload.
But it's really shit. Well, okay, it's not really shit. It's not like the shittiest shit, but it's like somehow Valve have made a total schoolboy error, even though it's like, this isn't a community map this time, this is one they've made themselves, but they've made the incredibly stupid error of there's just too much random clutter and shit, and sticky out edges and stuff that you get stuck on all the time.
So much.
It's like, this is actually a really badly designed level, what are you doing?
It's weird.
I have a real problem with that, because, yeah...
And it's not only that there's clutter everywhere, it's like the whole sort of design of the level is all about lots of little bits of route that sort of overlap and stuff. It's like there's this corridor where you're pushing the bomb along it. It's basically just like a right-angled L-shaped corridor. But then, there's... in the corner of that L shape, there's a little tunnel that you can go through,
Right.
and then above that, there's a walkway that goes along the edge, and that you can get into from various sides from the outside. It's like, this is too complicated. It's like you're trying to cram too many little divots and side rooms and stuff into this level. It's just not helping the design. And also at the last point, there's just here's a little ramp of staircase that goes into a 2 meter square platform that just doesn't go anywhere. It's just a pointless little platform. It's that's just clutter. Doesn't seem necessary, and it just kind of makes it awkward to navigate.
So it's kind of one of the problems with the payload race level, when they introduced that. Is that
I didn't like them as much as standard payload.
Well,
it's
pipeline is actually pretty simply designed. There's not much to it.
Well, no, the second stage has that kind of epic, sort of over-the-top route.
Well, but that's actually a good route. It's
I know, it just feels a bit long, if you know what I mean, as a route to the other side. It's like, you have to climb up the stairs, and you have to go across the top,
okay,
and it's
getting up the stairs is the bit that makes it too long.
Well,
It's
you
like
do
if it was at
teleport,
ground
isn't it?
level, if it was just another ground level route that went the same direction, it probably wouldn't be so bad.
No, you're probably right.
But yeah, so there was that.
It makes it unappealing to me anyway, because it means you have to spend more time moving. I always have a problem with that in games. It's like, I just want to be fighting.
Traversal.
Yeah, that is Rob's style. He's the frontline man. But then there's also all these tons of weapons, which, most of them, I can't remember all of them, so I was like, we can talk about some of them. But again, it's like, Valve have done, it's like, these are new weapons that Valve made themselves and all this stuff, although maybe they haven't made them themselves, these are probably from that contribute system where people have submitted designs and Valve have put the stats on them or whatever.
Possibly, although they seem quite nicely thought out in terms of packs.
Well, sort of. And the weird thing about it is that it's like they have it's like these sets,
Sets, that's what I mean, yeah.
But they don't have any set bonuses this time.
Oh, right.
So it's like, what is the point of calling it a set? Apart from it being a theme.
Yeah, I like the sniper's hat thing. What's it?
Apparently that makes you incredibly obvious though.
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
true.
white mainly.
Yeah,
I suppose you have to paint it.
Lawrence of Australia, right?
As long as you
It's
can,
quite funny.
Yeah, if you could paint it, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah,
But let's
Paint it brown.
and the
it's
demo man's turban thing's pretty hilarious as well.
well,
Demo pan.
that's never going to defeat afros or pimp hats though.
Pimp hat.
It's more
and sun
tasteful than
protectors.
that.
Yeah, that's not what it's about. Being tasteful is not what it's about.
Maybe.
But so I guess we can
there's
talk about
stuff.
some of these things.
So what were they? The first one was
Well,
the
no-
Arabian Nights, and then War was the third one. And what was the second one?
I thought
Second
War was-
day?
I know the first one was Gangsters.
Oh, that's right. Gangsters, then Arabian
Oh, that's
Nights,
cool.
and then
Like,
Gangsters.
we're talking 50s gangsters.
yeah.
Well, okay,
40s.
let's just go through
How many
these.
trilbies are there?
Well, they already had trilbies, so they
I know,
can't
but
put any more
are
trilbies.
they nice black and white trilbies though, rather than the grey ones?
No.
You got like a Tommy gun
So, okay,
style minigun, right?
Yeah, you've got the it was heavy and spy for the 50s gangster. You got the heavy gets like
30s probably.
oh yeah, probably. You got this heavy like Tommy gun machine gun thing, which I can't remember. Most of these I won't be able to remember the exact stats for. I'll just have to say what I can. But it's like you have no spin up noise, and I can't remember what the disadvantage is.
Probably less damage.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just like no spin up noise, and then like. But the trouble with that is that they've done a classic like Valve error again, and like made an error with the sound because it has no spin up noise, and then when you're firing, it has a firing noise, obviously. But because of that, if for example you stun a heavy who's got that, if he's holding down the firing button as if he was still firing, because it keeps it spun up, it just keeps playing the firing noise, even though he's stunned and he's not firing.
Oh, right.
It's like, and if you're out of ammo, I don't think they've made it have the click noise either. I think it just keeps playing the firing noise. It's like, wait, have you just screwed up here? Typical. So that's and then,
decoy fire.
And then you get what else is in that heavy pack? You get a new shotgun that I can't remember what the stats are for, and you get brass knuckles.
So they're finally actually thinking of more replacements for the base shotgun.
Yeah, this pack. And then you get brass knuckles, which is actually pretty funny. It's just like super fast attack speed compared to the normal fist. You're like, which could actually be pretty funny. And someone wrote in the chat in game, they were like, someone was theorizing. It's like, wouldn't the brass knuckles be super awesome with the stake? So you run around super fast with mini crits on your super fast firing melee weapon. That'd be awesome.
That could be quite funny.
So yeah, that might be awesome. And then the spy one, it's like you get a revolver that just basically does more damage, which is a bastard because spies with pistols when they actually use them to shoot at you. It was like I was playing engineer.
Surely that's good for you and your gun spy.
Well, yeah, arguably. Apart from I'm always going for the headshots, which do tons of damage anyway. But it's like I was playing engineer against a spy using this, and I was gunslinger engineer, so I had the bonus health. Of like plus 25 or whatever. And he was still like two-shotting me with one of them being crits. It's like the crit takes off like 170 something health. It's like, fuck Jesus. It's a bit unfair. Don't think the spy needed a more powerful pistol. If you want power pistol, you use the normal pistol. Because that does tons of damage already.
The normal pistol is the most effective weapon he has.
And then the knife that comes in that set is like, when you kill someone you gain cloak. And you have less health. So that's not very interesting.
No. I think I'd stick to my Saharan spy.
Yeah, it's way overpowered still.
It's awesome fun.
So then the second day was the...
I brought it up, by the way, so you can actually look up, see what...
The second day was the Saharan one, where you've got more stupid fucking demo nights. God damn it.
1001 demo nights, lol.
So stupid. Why did they put more goddamn swords in? It's like you've got a sword, a shield, and boots that let you turn faster when you're charging.
100% increase in turning control while charging. Plus 25 max health.
Plus 25 max health! It's like, fucking hell, is not the turning just an advantage enough? And the shield does damage on your charge impact, no matter what range, rather than just maximum range like the normal charge.
70% increase in charge impact damage.
So it literally kills people really easily if you hit them with it. It's just like, we don't want more fucking demo nights! It's like, it was already bad enough that virtually all demo men were using the Taj, which removes the sticky launcher, and now they've got this even better shield and sword combo.
It does seem a bit too much of a boost.
Yeah. I think that's the main problem with this update, is a lot of these are just boosts. But apart from this next one, because the other half of the Saharan update was the sniper, which is really shit. It's like, you get a new knife, which is just like, if you're on... Is it high health you gain damage and low health you lose damage? Or is it the other way around?
Plus 25% increase in damage when health is less than 50%.
Alright, yeah.
What's the name of the thing? The Shahansha.
And then the stupid sniper rifle is like, it has a lower default charge rate, and then every time you headshot, it increases the charge rate. And then if you body shot, it decreases it, and if you miss, it resets it.
It sounds like something you should say when you sneeze.
Shahansha.
Achoo! Shahansha.
But that sniper rifle is shit for most people, but if you put that in the hands of a good sniper, it's just going to be ridiculously overpowered again.
They just charge up constantly.
Yeah,
so if they miss the head, they're gonna just kill you anyway.
Yeah,
right?
and like
they've got like 50 charge.
The awesome snipers, like some of the ridiculously good snipers that we see on the servers we play on, they like never miss headshots. So they're just going to get so ridiculously fast charging sniper. It's going to be quite a bastard.
So then their headshot against the heavy after a couple of headshots will be insta-kill, won't it?
No, it's not increasing damage, it's just increasing how fast it charges so they can fire quicker headshots.
Oh, okay.
So is it only the subsequent shot charges faster?
Yeah, if you headshot, it increases the charge rate of your sniper rifle overall.
Oh, right, I see. So you keep the buff until you die?
Until you miss or
until
body
you miss.
shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was that. And then there's freaking the third day with World War Wednesday with the soldier pack, where basically this is where it starts getting really dumb, because it's like Valve running out of ideas, clearly. Because it's like, let's give them a rocket launcher, which is basically a direct hit, apart from remove the normal rocket launcher splash damage. So it's basically a straight upgrade.
That's what I was wondering.
It's so cheap.
Awesome.
Plus 40% projectile speed, minus 25 clip size. That's
right,
a direct
so
hit,
you're
but it's not reducing your damage.
It's a black box with normal damage, but with direct hit speed projectiles.
I want it.
It's so ridiculously overpowered. They've got to nerf that, because it's just a straight upgrade over every other rocket launcher.
The Liberty Launcher is just fated way too good. Why have you seen it in action?
Yeah, like everyone has got it now.
Kick your ass. Alright.
Such a pain.
What else you got?
And then you've got the shotgun, which, like, faster weapon switch and mini crits on targets in the air. Except they've done the classic thing that they did when they did the... It's the direct hit that also does criticals if the target's in the air.
Yeah.
But they've made the same error with that shotgun, where it counts if your target is jumping.
Oh, really?
Or at least I think it does. I'm fairly sure I jumped and then got hit by that.
Well,
So it's good against scouts.
I always thought the direct hit sort of usage for that was a bit weird, wasn't it? Because I'm sure you could hit people sometimes and not get the crit. There's like some rule.
Well, it's like you had to knock them in the air with
you had to be the
explosion.
one to put them in the air.
Yeah, because originally it did just have that same problem where it's like if they were jumping, it would still count. And they've just made the same error again, basically.
Well, I'm not sure it matters so much with the shotgun.
Yeah. Because you
perhaps-
can't knock them into the air with a shotgun.
Well, yeah,
can you?
perhaps on...
Well,
it's a tough one.
Well, it's
to
like
define,
fighting
isn't it?
scouts. If they're jumping around, they're just making themselves an easy kill.
That's true.
It's a tough one to define, actually, that one, isn't it? Whether you've been... Whether jumping is in the air enough.
Well, yeah, that was the whole problem they had with that.
The Scout's got a bloody triple jump now, so...
Well, that's just dumb. I mean, the Scout update is... I mean, that's not one of the day updates. The Scout one was snuck in there separately. But the Scout update is super stupid as well. There was basically... Here is a pistol that has a lower clip and more damage, because we couldn't think of a good idea for a pistol. Good job. You've got the bat, which is like... Gives you a triple jump, apart from the triple jump damages yourself. And where do you ever go to use a triple jump? So, almost entirely pointless.
I don't know, some Scout players seem to be excited by that.
Well, it depends if you don't want to use the Force of Nature, I guess, to do your triple jump.
Or if you have the Force of Nature, you could do a quadruple jump. You could probably go across from the two fort from one side to the other without touching the ground.
That could be really funny.
But it's replacing your bats, so I mean, there's better options for bats. Like Santa. For me.
You're just obsessed with the Sandman.
Well, it's like none of these scout weapons are going to make me replace anything, apart from maybe the pistol. And then the scattergun is like... It's like a Force of Nature, you only get 2 shots. But instead of knockback, it has where, as you run around, a meter builds up, and then when the meter gets full, you get mini crits for a certain amount of time.
That's right.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But that's just overpowered as well. It's just like, you're just running around, building... It's like, you don't have to do anything apart from stay alive.
That's cool, though. I would like that, I think. It's like hype, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
And you use it to...
But once again, that's not going to replace the Force of Nature for me, because I need... the knockback is more important to me than the crits.
Knockback is quite nice. It depends on the level, I think, actually, that one.
Well, probably.
If you can knock them off the map, yeah. If you're just knocking them into walls, it's not so good, is it?
I don't know, it could be quite bumping people up against the wall as the instant death maneuver. Because once they're in the air, they can't move, so it makes your second shot really easy. Yeah, but yeah, so that was the Scout, and then I guess...
The Pyro's got something,
The Pyro gets one thing. He gets a flare gun where you can... You get the flare gun where you can make the flare explode, and it does a little fire explosion.
Huh.
With a second click?
Yeah, with a right click.
Okay.
That could be cool.
It could be, but people have been saying it's not actually very good.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't work very well or something.
What's the downside to it, then, over the normal flare?
I can't remember. Don't think there is one.
Can you not fire a second flare until you've exploded the first one?
Well, that's not going to... The flares travel so fast anyway, it's not going to make...
Yeah, by the time you reload the gun, your other ones usually hit something.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't remember what the downside is. I'm sure it's something like less damage or whatever.
Or maybe you have to...
Oh no, wait, I remember what the
Or is
downside
it direct hits?
I remember what the downside is. The downside for some reason is you take more damage off your own explosions. So if you explode this flare right in your face, you take a load of damage. When are you ever going to do that?
That's not going to happen, is it? Does it explode on contact as well? Or...
No, I think it acts like a normal flare if you hit someone.
Yeah, okay. Well, it doesn't sound too bad. There's no downside to it again, but really...
Yeah. But I don't think... I'm not sure it's actually an upside as much as it seems like it should be. I don't think the explosion is a wide enough radius, possibly, is the main thing.
You could airburst it, though, is the thing, so you could like try and get it at the right depth of the person you're hitting, so there's more chance of it hitting.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's like if you're just missing someone, maybe you could detonate it to make it hit them, or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's a bit complicated to have it on a... Mainly, I'd be more happy if it was on the same button rather than a different button.
You're probably right.
Because I don't like... I mean, this is the whole problem I have with Huntsman. I don't like using both mouse buttons consecutively.
Maybe it's to stop you from blowing it up in your face if you go, ah! And spam
Double
the click
click.
button.
Well, then that should be what the disadvantage is.
Maybe.
But then, okay, so the last one is the medic, which is probably the most... like, well thought out set of stuff, as in they actually have real bonuses and stuff, rather than just being these shitty, like, more damage, less clip laziness of some of the other guns. But the medic one is, because I mean, obviously this is Meet the Medic as well,
Yeah.
which was fair.
Yeah. It was also though.
But yeah, so the medic equipment, you get generic syringe gun, where it's just like more damage, less fire rate or something. Not very interesting.
Whatever it
Don't
was.
really care about that. You get the stupid melee weapon, which is like a bust of Socrates, where it's the only advantage of it is like you can see enemy health, which is I'm
Why
not
is
sure
that
that's
good?
an advantage
So
really
you can
for a
see if
medic.
they're about to die and whether you can actually get them.
Yeah, I guess it's
I
so you
suppose
can
if
like
you could take them, yeah.
you can target if you're using voice, you can like tell your heavy or whatever who to shoot at.
Well, I suppose if you're running away from a fight, whether you can take them or not, or just mop up if your
Yeah, maybe.
heal buddy goes down.
And then the actual important one is the new Medibeam, the quick fix thing, which is actually kind of weird. It's like when you Uber, it just increases healing rate by like 300%. So it's like a non-invincible Uber. You're healing healing super fast so they can stay alive under a lot of fire, but they're not totally invincible.
So are you not affected by it?
Yeah, and you don't get it either.
So you have to not die.
Wait, so what's the upside to this?
The upside of it is when you've got the healing beam on someone, you move as fast as they do.
So you could move
Or,
as fast.
faster. I mean, for faster classes. Not You don't slow down if you're healing a heavy. That would be dumb.
Can you speed up if you're healing a scout?
Yeah.
So you can run across the level crazy fast.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I get.
And what's the other... There's another thing, isn't
Uber
there?
charge rate, faster charge, and heal rate in general, 40% faster heal rate for normal healing.
Oh, okay, that's quite important.
Yeah. So you heal
No
as... you
overhealing.
heal as-
Oh, no overheal.
Is there no
Yeah.
overheal? I'm not sure.
It says can't overheal.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know quite if I...
But the trouble
use
is,
that.
it's like, it's sort of a good... It's good in some situations. Oh, and it has the other advantage of... that it isn't really
Grants
specified.
immunity to movement impairing effects when on the Uber charge.
That kind of sucks for
Oh,
me,
right,
because
so
it means I can't stun people.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's a movement impairing effect.
So even though, because with the normal Uber you can stop people who are invulnerable by blasting them back, can't you?
Yeah.
But with this, although you're not invulnerable, you can't be blasted back. So
Oh,
you
does
can
it
just-
stop airburst as well?
Presumably.
Huh.
immunity to movement impairing effects, so
Yeah.
you can just move forward no matter what, provided you don't die.
It'd be better if I could still stun them, but then they moved at the same speed, but unfortunately not.
No.
The stun doesn't work at all.
No.
But then the other sort of advantage to that, there's also another element of it, is like, because it's not a proper Uber charge, you can cap while doing it. Because you're
Yeah,
not...
because you're not invulnerable.
Yeah, you don't lose...
Oh, I see.
There's a lot of subtleties to that
Yeah.
one, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. But the trouble with that is, of course, that every goddamn medic in the entire world is using it now, so you never have any actual Uber charges when you need them. Because
Well, no,
you
but
can't really take down sentries with it still, even though you're healing so quickly.
That happened when the crits first came out. It will settle out. It's just that people are experimenting.
Is it me, or is it much less sentry focused in general at TF2 nowadays?
I don't know.
I don't see
Moving
it.
shit around.
Sentries are still a problem.
I don't see him so much.
Moving them around is the main
It
problem.
used to be all about getting past the next sentry nest or whatever, and now it doesn't seem to... I suppose it's better.
Depends what level you're playing.
Yeah, it does.
Dust Bowl is still sentry corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, heavily.
And the fact you can move them around, it has boosted them, I guess.
On attack, yeah.
Yeah.
Dropping level 3 sentry directly onto the point. Complete bastards.
I've still never tried that. Man,
I guess that's all there is to say about Team Fortress 2. Oh dear God. We could talk about that forever.
Need to get some time with that. That sounds intriguing. So that's actually out now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any fun? We need to talk about the fact that it's more the fact that it's free to play. You think it's a good thing ultimately? I think
sticking with weapons for a second, are all these classically craftable?
Yeah, and they've changed the crafting page now, so it's meant to make it easier, but I think it just makes it a bit more annoying, because now when you go to the crafting page, it's just a straight up text list of all the stuff you can make, and then when you click on one of those, it brings up the panel that shows you each individual thing you need to put into the slots to make it. So it's slightly easier to make what you want. But that means that every time you want to make scrap metal, you have to look down the list to where it says scrap metal, and then click on it, and then click on the 2 slots, and then go through your backpack to find the 2 things to fit in the 2 slots.
So it doesn't you can't just say, "Oh, I know what the blueprint is, chuck them in." Go.
No.
Oh, that is a bit sucky, actually.
It's like it's doing things you know how to do a lot. It takes a lot more clicks, but it makes it much easier to make things that you don't know how to make.
Much easier for beginners, but
well, perhaps that should have just been, the default behaviour is normal, and then you can choose to guide you if you want.
Yeah,
that seems a bit stupid to make it mandatory.
They'll probably fix that. They'll probably have a crafting bin where you can just shove stuff and craft again.
Yeah, you would hope.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Maybe that means that they're trying to think of recipes. Maybe they're sort of preempting the fact that there may be recipes that sort of have options. So you put some stuff in there, and it's like, this could produce either this or this.
Some of them do have options, but they're randomly. Like if you put a class token and a scrap metal in, you get a random one of that class.
True, but you know what I mean. Maybe they're trying to that they'll sort of start making recipes where they're just like, right, you've got all the right ingredients for this or this.
I don't know, because they could just make every recipe different, can't they? Really, because they've got so many things that you can craft together, so many different combinations.
Yeah, I guess, but I think they might go that way. Perhaps.
I did know
some of the simpler things.
I did notice that for some reason that new medic melee, the bust thing, the crafting recipe for that is insanely expensive and really annoying. It's like, you need a reclaimed metal and 8 Geratis!
Jesus.
It's like, what? How is... I don't think it's that powerful a weapon. Just to be able to see enemy health. That's a bit of an insane recipe. And that's the only one, because I was like, it's all normally 3 things or 4 things, and then this one is 8 Geratis! It's like, what?
What are they implying about Socrates?
It's made out of pea.
Made of pea.
8 bottles of pea.
Oh dear.
So that was weird. So yeah,
free-to-play model. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently what it is the free players, you can't actually craft anything. That's the main lockout.
Yeah, but you only have to spend...
You only have to spend 29p.
20p or something, and then you become a primary player.
Right, so you still actually have to buy something out of the store to unlock the game fully.
Sort of. You can pretty much play... I mean, there's no real disadvantage.
Was this the thing that they implemented to try and stop just free-to-play griefers?
I think so.
And stuff spammers?
Because you can make infinite free accounts now, presumably, if you wanted.
But it's not going to stop them. I mean, 29p isn't much.
No, I know, but I mean, they have other strategies, don't they? This is just one of their ways of...
I can't remember what...
the influx of new players. Well, that's the idea.
I don't know what the other things are, because, I mean, when you upgrade to a premium whatever account, presumably they can't do anything else at that point.
Yeah, but they can still ban griefers.
Well,
so I'm sure they still have monitoring for that sort of thing. Probably improved, and they're confident enough to make it free to play now.
I don't know. This just sounds like a classic Valve maneuver of we'll do something and then see what happens and then try and fix it.
Yeah, probably.
But how's it going so far? You've actually played it since...
Well, the servers have been ridiculously full, but I'm not sure if that's actually because of new people or just because everyone who normally plays has seen the... I mean, the servers that we play on are pretty much always full with a select, the regulars.
Yeah.
Is Hampshire Heavy 2 full?
It has been the last couple of days, apart from I joined it last night and then it immediately emptied. It's because now with the free-to-play making things easier for new people aspects, now when you click on the Play Now button, it just has these little hilarious cartoon pictures where it's payload, push the cart, and then you just click it and puts you on a random server.
Oh, right. Okay. That's kind of crazy. Are they always terrible servers?
I don't know, I haven't tried it.
Okay.
So I just go to my standard servers.
I'll have to try.
So yeah, I guess that's that.
Cool.
We need
It's
to
good
move
news,
on.
though. I could
How long have we
potentially get everyone at work to just download a TF2 and play
Yeah,
it.
for free.
Yeah, because it's free, so there's no barrier.
Oh, Christ. There we go, move on.
What else you got?
I've got loads of time.
Yeah, but I still got some stuff to talk
Go
about.
on.
And TF2, we can talk about that forever.
Well, no, I just want to raise the point that this may have what sometimes happens in the industry as it might be one of those leading factors. So all of a sudden we might see a number of new big name free to play games pop up. I know EA have been experimenting with it for a while now to
Battlefield Heroes, lol.
yeah, to little
It's
success.
not going to work for anyone
And
else.
NFS Live or whatever it was called, and the FIFA Online implementation.
Yeah.
None of them seem to have worked particularly well for them, but I think it might encourage people to do, and this is a good thing, the good side of this that may come out is that games will launch with a pay-to-play model, and then when their popularity dwindles, perhaps, or there's little money in it, perhaps they introduce
Maybe.
full-on free-play systems, but it has to rely on a nicely thought-out microtransaction system that's not mandatory, and this is why it works for TF, because the pay-to-play, the microtransactions have never been mandatory, so you can sort of work up to them.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's so that's the good side. If things start following that model, I don't think I'd have a problem with that, because it means it extends the lifespan of the game and potentially the revenue for very little, I guess. But it's the worrying thing would be if there's another slew of people going, "Oh look, free to play seems to work."
Apparently, when Team Fortress 2 went free to play, it went from like being in the top 10 of most played on Steam to the number 1, overtaking Counter-Strike
About damn time.
in one manoeuvre. 4 years after it came out.
Quite a long time after Counter-Strike came out as well.
Oh, yeah.
5, 6 years. No,
At least.
No, 7, because that came out in 2004, same time as Half-Life 2, didn't it?
Source.
CS Source.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk about actual Counter-Strike,
I'm not sure which one it was that was top. It might
Yeah.
have been. I doubt it was.
Counter-Strike
Probably was
1.6, that would be hilarious.
But yeah, so next thing. Okay, well,
the shields, right, shields.
next
Are they
thing.
in Source?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course. What are you talking about? Everything
Oh, yeah,
in
of course
original
they are.
CS is in Source.
Yeah. It's just people hated those things, didn't they?
Yeah. They were kind
Funny.
of annoying. Funny. Next thing, which is conveniently leading on from free-to-playness, I've been messing around with another one of the free-to-play things that turned up on Steam before Team Fortress, which was Spiral Knights.
Ah, yes.
Because I'd heard ages ago, like several months ago in IRC, people were being quite enthusiastic about it when it first came out. Of course, now they all don't care, so I'm doing this by myself, now that it's come to Steam.
So what is this shit?
It's like Torchlight, only sort of similar. It's like a dungeon crawler stabby things game. I mean,
Like Diablo.
yeah. Obviously, it was going to be simpler because it's a free-to-play thingy.
Mm.
It's by Sega, which I thought was kind of strange.
What?
I didn't know. It was like, oh, it's Sega. Weird. It has kind of a, it's not a dark game. It's not Torchlighty or Diablo. It's not. I mean, Diablo is like super dark, and then you've got Torchlight where it's starting to go a bit more,
Ambient.
yeah. But then this is like, it's not.
Mood light.
It hasn't gone all the way into like, ridiculous, cheesy,
Super
kid-friendly.
vibrant land.
It is pretty vibrant, just not super vibrant.
What about Magicka? That's kind of got a crazy vibe.
Yeah, maybe it is sort of giving the sort of magical area.
Well, it's basically day dungeons, isn't it? That's what they are.
Well, yeah, it's not dark dungeons. There's no like fog of war where it's darkness around you or anything. But yeah, so it's just like dungeon crawling, wandering around, stabbing things. It's got quite a weirdly awesome like world and mechanic for making the world, where it's like the whole idea is like you're on this weird planet where it's like the crust is like a shell, and then underneath there's all this clockwork shit where like bits of the world casually rotate around within it, which is like how they explain the fact that each level of the dungeon as you go down can have like 4 or 5 different options, and those cycle in real time. So it's like the clockwork was rotating. If you just stand there for a while, the level will change which one you're going to.
Oh, Clever.
And each of the individual levels is sort of Torchlighty in that it's just like a random selection of parts that are joined together. So it's like random levels, and then each different level can have a different level.
Different configuration.
Yeah, different parts make a different level, and then there can be several of those per depth as you go down. Ooh. And then, to make it even more complicated, the entire whole like dungeon layout, which is like 29 levels or whatever, those are built by depositing minerals into like this mineral deposit box. The players themselves, depending on what combination of minerals you fit into each floor overall, determines what theme it'll be. Mm. And then those gates cycle in like every like number of days. And like a new gate gets finished and an old one disappears and then it reopens to build a new one. Mm. So it's like you're constantly changing what levels you've got available, and each of the individual parts of that level are changing. So it's like there's quite a lot of random variants that you can get to like mess around in and see new shit, I guess, to a certain extent.
Okay.
And then, like, so the free-to-play system, which I guess is the important thing, is like, where's the money?
And?
Well, basically how it works is, over time, it's like all the elevators that get you into the levels and the crafting all cost, like, money. Well, the crafting costs money, the elevators don't, but they also cost energy, which is, like, the main thing. So, over, like, 24 hours, you build up energy over time into your mist tank up to 100, and that's all you can store. But then if you want to have more than 100 for like, because obviously there's 29 floors you can get to,
right? And
it costs 10 energy per floor. So obviously you can't get all the way through the dungeon in one go on just the free energy.
No.
So you can buy energy to put it into which is in a separate reserve, and that never expires or refills or whatever.
Buy that with real money.
Or you can just buy it off other players for in-game cash, or, you know, all that normal sort of in the Eve style.
Right.
Where someone somewhere has bought it, and then you can buy it off them.
Yeah.
For in-game cash. So yeah, it's quite a ridiculous system.
So have you put any real money into it?
No, I've just been conveniently buying this extra energy off other people, because I was like, I know how to work a market, an auction house, fuck yeah.
Does this mean that it's not possible to actually get through the game? You know, in conceptually, it's not possible to get through the game without spending money.
Well, it is sort of, because it's 29 floors, but it's split into like 3 chunks. And you can get through one of the chunks on like 60 energy. So you can, they're called tiers. It's like tier 0, tier 1, tier 2.
Right.
But so you can get through one of those chunks with 60 energy. So you can do the whole thing. Because when you've done one chunk, it unlocks the ability to start from the start of the second one.
I see, that's alright.
So you can theoretically go through the whole thing without
that's not so bad.
ever getting involved.
You can just do it Torchlight style.
Yeah. And I mean, you're not going to... Presuming you're not going to spend too much time on it, it's like you'll pretty much always fill up your tank if you're not playing it every single day.
Mm.
Your free tank.
Yes.
But then again,
free tank?
The energy is... Using the energy for crafting is also the other problem, where it's like, that actually costs quite a lot of energy to make weapons, and it locks the tiers by, like, the quality of your weapons, so if you can't get into the second tier unless you've got 2-star weapons or whatever.
Oh, so presumably there's not so much loot that you can use then, just off the bat?
You don't get...
So there's more of an emphasis on the crafting than
Yeah, you don't get weapons or armour from loot drops, you only get materials, and then you have to craft those by buying a recipe and then crafting them. Or, I mean, you can just auction house it. Mm. If you build up enough in-game cash, you can just buy everything from that, and you can buy that, you know, the energy market is a separate thing from the auction house, so you can buy the energy through that and all that kind of stuff. It's actually quite an ingeniously balanced system, surprisingly, for actually well, the thing is, I found it kind of surprising how easy it was to just make cash and get energy, and I was like, this just seems like the economy might collapse at any moment. It's like, all I did was like run through a dungeon, buy a blueprint, craft a weapon, and then it sold for like a ton of cash, and I was just like, well, I'll buy some more energy and then craft some more weapons and then sell them for cash. And it's like, what? This is just inflation. What's going on here?
Easy enough.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh man, what's going on? I can do this quite easily. Although I haven't got I haven't actually got deep into it. Mainly because I haven't got, even though I've got the 2-star weapons and armor and stuff I need to access the second tier, I can only do about half of that tier using those. I think I need to upgrade again, that's where it starts getting to a lot of cash. It's like, the 2-star weapons are acceptable levels of cash. Like, if you were to buy them off the market, it's like 7,500 or whatever, which is equivalent to like 200 energy or something.
It's not too bad. 2 days worth of grind.
Yeah, more or less. But, well, I mean, that's the value of the energy is not the same as spending that energy and then going grinding, really. As in buying it. Obviously, to buy energy, just pure energy, is worth more to the player base. It's really hard to explain this kind of system.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I'm a bit lost there.
makes some sense.
I think the main problem with it that I'm having is all the words are the same. Levels upon levels with levels in them.
Yeah. Overloaded those terms, haven't they?
Yeah.
So does it suffer from the normal problem with these style of games with a free-to-play model that the grind is, all there is?
Well, sort of. I don't know, it depends what you're actually looking for. Because, I mean, it doesn't feel like grinding so much. Well, maybe to me. Maybe because I've done this where I'm just getting cash and making stuff. Maybe it doesn't feel like grinding because I'm just getting what I need whilst doing it. It's like I'm playing the game and getting the cash and elements I need to craft stuff without having to try. I don't know if that's actually the case. But it's more like you're not actually trying to grind anything, you're just going through it to play the levels. Or at least initially it seems like it. I'm not sure how long that, newness will last. But there are a lot of variations, like I said, with the random elements and the switching of levels over time.
That does help.
Play through the same thing. I mean, you do start to see like the same elements over and over, where it's like, oh, that's this room of the level, but it's just in a different order somewhere else or whatever, with different enemies in it. And the enemies change depending on, like, those minerals you put in to build the gates. That changes, like, the elemental properties of the enemies or whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
So, yeah, that's that, I guess. I would say that I'd like someone else to come and play it as well. Cause, I mean, it does work pretty good in like, it goes up to 4-player, and it has quite a balanced system for... It's like, when you get more people in, you don't compete for cash or... they have this thing called heat, which is how you upgrade your weapons and armor, which is like experience points basically for your weapon. You don't compete for cash or heat or some of the tokens, which are special items. Anyone who picks them up, everyone gets them.
Oh, I see.
The only thing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like.
The only thing that isn't shared out evenly is the crafting materials. But it's not the person who picks them up that always gets them. When someone picks it up, it just assigns it to a random person in the team.
I see.
So it tries to even it out.
So
yeah.
Kind of like how the Guild Wars had...
Yeah, you can't
had the kind of like how Guild Wars had the reserved for thing.
Basically.
I was watching the quick look of Trenched, and it has a similar thing where when you're playing co-op and you pick stuff up, it just gets shared rather than going to the person who got there first.
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, that's quite a nice system. And also there's the actual advantage of going for the 4-player version is when you're going through the dungeons you find like mineral deposits and you pick those up. And it's like when you're solo you just pick up the biggest bit that you find.
Yeah.
But when you're doing 4-player, you have 4 people to pick up each of the bits, and everyone gets a copy of all 4 of those. So that's like where the advantage of going 4-player is, you get more of the minerals out of it. Because everyone gets a duplicate of everyone's pickup.
Right, yeah. You get more.
Yeah.
Cool.
Obviously, is there things like, because the enemy count presumably goes up as well to scale?
I don't think it does go up, they just get hardier.
Oh, okay.
So that is I don't think you do get as many crafting materials out of it if you're going in 4-player. because there's still the same number of enemies. I'm not sure if they're more likely to drop, because, I mean, obviously sometimes you kill an enemy, it doesn't drop.
Yeah.
Crafting materials or whatever. So I'm not sure what the exact balance about that is. But yeah, I was going to say, it's like, I kind of want someone to come play it with me, but you guys have better things to do. You guys have actual games to play.
Yeah. Quite a few things to get through.
Intriguing, but it's, your point is valid.
It's like
If I had decent internet, I probably would try.
It's just like a quick, it's like it's like as if Torchlight was a multiplayer game, which it will be.
Which will be fun. Can't wait for that.
It's just like you don't have to spend long on it. You can just do a quick run through of one level of the thing, and then you're done. Or you've expended your energy, and then you can't play anymore. You just wait for the next time.
Cool.
So yeah, that's that.
What else you been playing, man?
Oh god, I can't remember. There's two more things. Oh right, Eve. That's probably the next.
What's going on in Eve?
It's the first part of walking in stations where you actually have your avatar and you wander around in your little captain's quarters. And I made a video, which I've posted onto my YouTube, as well as a live stream channel that I was messing around with.
What's linked off our Facebook page for all those who are interested.
Yes, and then Rob cross-posted it on Facebook.
So it said BB something?
Yes.
And then your date of birth?
Yes.
Okay, then we can't read that.
Just search for Hostile Waters Last Mission.
yeah.
Because that's like the most popular video on my entire account. Oh no, actually wait, Hostile Waters Mission 3.
Mission 3?
Which it's really bizarre, that one video on my account has like 20,000 views. And the Hostile Waters Last Mission, where I uploaded a walkthrough of the entire last mission, is like 2,000 views.
It's much more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Apart from it is like 4 videos, because I had to split it into 10-minute chunks. So
Do
it's
you
like
use the
40
plane
minutes.
in your solution
No.
to the last mission? Why do they give you that plane in the last bloody
You
mission?
can be cheap with it, and if you equip the Warhammer, the long-range artillery thing, it acts like a bomb,
Right.
and then you can just fly so high that nothing can target you, and you can just bomb everything.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's maybe how you meant to do it.
Yeah, but that's so cheap.
That is cheap. Anyway, get into your happy playing.
So yeah, I made this Eve video of like a walkthrough guide of all the walking in station. I say all, the tiny bit of walking in station stuff, where it's like your captain's quarters, and you look at a screen and it tells you pointless information about the world, and then you walk up to a gantry, and then you can look at your ship in real size-ish, maybe.
And are there fish?
No fish.
Disappointing.
Yeah, no fish tank. No feeding your fish constantly. Although, actually, I guess that is sort of the idea of this whole thing was, as I said in this video, virtually the first thing I say is that basically the entire thing is pointless.
That's what I
It's
thought.
like all the buttons and everything else that you normally do in a station are totally there. But instead, you can do it through this pointless
Walk up to
interactive
them
interface.
and press them. Yeah, genius.
Well, it's obviously just a first step towards what they want to achieve.
You'd
but
think so, yeah. It's like that menu for that demos. Do you remember years ago?
Oh, right,
It was like the build
First
engine or
person.
something. You'd run up to whatever it was, Monster Truck Madness,
Yeah,
press
it'd be
the
like a
space
little
bar,
window.
and then you could...
That was
you
a
could
great
play
demo engine, that was.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you could, like, chuck coins. It was like Duke Nukem.
For no reason.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so you can wander
Soft
around
code.
and you can look at this, like, here is your ship in real scale, probably. It's hard to tell though, because as I was saying in this video, it's like, you can't really, there's no sense of scale because you don't know how big it's meant to be or anything. And it's really hard to simulate a large thing in the distance in a video game.
That's true. Scale is all confusing.
I wonder if it would be easy. I wonder if they've taken it into account, like if you've used 3D vision on it.
Yeah, if you put it into
would
3D.
would that give you a better sense of the scale?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think what they've really done wrong is they put that gantry in the wrong place. Because you walk up this, where to the viewing point of your ship is, and it's like, sort of up in front of you, and you're sort of underneath it, and then it rotates slowly in the air. I think it would have been better for a sense of scale if they put the gantry, like, sort of over it, so you're looking down, and then it goes slightly under the gantry. That maybe would have been I think that would have given you a better sense of scale than... Or you need to be closer to it, really.
Yeah.
You need to be... The gantry needs to overlap slightly, rather than being a totally separate
zone. So you
zone.
can't see all of it in one view, can you?
No. Well, I mean, it rotates very slowly, and
Okay.
so you can see all angles on it or whatever.
No, I just mean you have to look around. You can't picture frame it.
You
or...
probably can if your resolution's high enough. You can't on my monster because the ship doesn't fit.
No.
It's not widescreen.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's
That's Eve.
That's really all there is to that. Apart from they also, in this update, I guess the other cool thing is the new turret animations. where like all the actual turrets on your ship have proper like.
And they point towards where they're shooting.
Well, they used to do that, but now they look better.
Oh, cool.
They look like actual turrets. And they have like guns, and they have this pointless like activation animation where like they open up and parts rotate. Apart from you're never going to see that because that only happens when you online and offline your turrets, which you never ever do in space as far as I'm aware.
They're always online, right?
Yeah, and because I mean, onlining and offlining stuff, it does technically, as far as I'm aware, have applications in certain PvP aspects, but. Basically, in order to online or offline a module on your ship in EVE, you have to have full capacitor.
Right.
So, and it drains like 90% of your capacitor when you do it.
To offline something.
Yeah, to online or offline something. So you only do it in like when you're in a very safe place in space in PvP for some, maybe you're turning off a cloaking device and you're turning on one extra gun or something because you couldn't fit both or something.
Right.
I don't fucking know. I don't PvP. So it's like they put in this whole nice animation in for it, but you're never actually going to see it.
Fair enough.
Plus, they'd probably be tiny in real.
Well, yeah. Also, if you're on any large
right
enough ship, you're like miniature turrets, even though they're supposed to be huge. And like, I got my traditional guns on my traditional auto cannons or artillery on my battleship are like 1200 millimeter.
Oh my goodness!
So it's like, man, that is a huge ass car. Huge ass caliber of gun that you're firing there, but they're still tiny.
It's like huge ass car.
Yeah, I said huge ass car, didn't I?
That is a huge ass car.
Are they big enough to fire a car through?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of because the old classic thing was like, it's like you're firing a mini out of your guns. so I said it was a huge ass car.
Oh man, that gun's a huge ass car.
And then
What else?
The gun is like 14 meters long or whatever, supposedly in scale. And my ship is like 1,000 meters long.
Ridiculous.
So it's still a tiny, tiny little speck relative to the whole ship.
Yeah.
It doesn't look 1,000 meters long, given. I see what you mean about the scale problem now. I didn't realise your ship was supposed to be 1 kilometre long.
Well, yeah.
It's like, even from that view, it doesn't look like it's 1 kilometre long.
Yeah. And I still think it's like the smaller ships, like I switched to the shuttle, and that's like 100 meters, and that definitely looks too big comparatively, I'd say, in the hangar. I'm sure in space that frigates and stuff were super tiny compared to battleships, because I remember I went and flew my battleship up next to someone who'd only just started the game, who I was talking to, and it was like miniature tiny frigate, and then my huge airship. I'm sure that looks better in space. I'm not sure if the scale is actually right. But yeah, so that's EVE. I didn't actually play EVE, I just logged in to look at this, and then made a video, and then it was like, right, I'm done. Check my skills.
What else have you been up to? One more thing?
I guess the last... What?
One more thing?
Yeah, one more thing.
Go.
Conveniently.
Yeah.
There's been a hell of a lot more update for Terraria.
Oh, of
Terraria.
course.
They are actually
Terraria.
they are actually still doing their updates as they said they would.
Oh. Unlike a certain similar 3D game.
Well, I mean, the whole idea with Terraria was like they were rushing it out because it got pirated or whatever.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then they basically said that they weren't done with it. So
They're
I suppose this
continuing
stuff
their
that they're
development.
actually putting it out was what they were planning to do.
Yeah.
But it's gotten quite a lot more like enemies and potions and weird things. Some of the potions are actually quite cool because it's like now it's like you get these plants where you harvest them and then you combine the plants in an alchemy style and make weird potions. But they all do some of the effects that they have are actually quite cool. Like you can walk on water, or you breathe water instead of air. So if you jump out of water, then you start drowning in a reverse style. Or one of the actual really useful ones is like a potion where it just highlights all treasure and ore.
Oh,
So even if you can't see it if it's inside a rock face, it just starts glowing as you move
that's
around.
awesome. That's what's needed in Minecraft.
Yeah, basically. Apart from obviously still the same problem as I said before in Terraria, where because it's 2D, you're getting a slice, so you can see them, rather than Minecraft, where you'd have to have like some kind of weird X-ray view, I guess.
X-ray vision, yeah.
But yeah, that's quite a cool potion. And then you get all other various things like Featherfall and Ironhide, all the standard. Someone's funking past the house. But yeah, so new potions, new enemies.
Funking.
Some of the new enemies are quite evil. like the hell enemies. Really, I think maybe they need to tone down at least one of these, because when you go to hell, it always used to be fire imps and bone serpents. And the fire imps are basically, they fire a fireball at you.
Yeah.
Except the fireball can pass through landscapes, so they can shoot at you from anywhere, which is kind of difficult to cope with. Yeah. And then bone serpents are just like a big tunneling worm thing that just mushes its face into you, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
But now they put in these other, you get like demons, which are sort of like fire imps, only more powerful, and they fly, so they just float in midair and shoot at you. But then the worst one is, surprise, it's kind of dumb. The worst enemy in hell now is lava slimes, because it's like slimes are the most basic enemy that you see on the surface. But lava slimes, I think they need to tone these down, because when you kill them, a bit of lava comes out, and lava is fucking dangerous. It's like, if you fall into lava, it takes off like 90 of your health per second, and you only have like 400 health maximum.
Right.
So it's like you're killing these things, and you're making more lava pools already in hell, which is already fucking full of lava. It's like, I really don't need any more lava here, thanks.
Oh dear.
So I think maybe those need to be like toned down just a touch, or like maybe reduce the spawn rate, because it's like they are the common enemy in hell now.
Right.
That and hellbats. And it's like, it's because they're a simple enemy, all they do is like jump and like try and jump into
They're easy to kill, but when you kill them,
fucking lava!
Yeah.
So yeah.
You have to try not to kill them.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the way the enemy spawns works is like, there's only a certain number of enemies you can have on the screen at a time, so...
You're talking about the bone serpents as... It sparked a stupid thought process in my head that ended with, to the music of Single Ladies, if you liked it, then you should have mushed your face in it.
Oh.
If you liked it, then you should have mushed your face in it.
Okay.
It's good advice, though, really, when you think about it. Oh, I really like that.
I really like this pizza.
I'm going to keep it, so I'm going to mush my face in it, so none of you can have it. Do you want some mushed pizza? No, you don't. It's mine.
Don't be mad when you see that he wants it.
If I like it, I'll just mash my face in it.
Mash your face in it.
Oh, God. I think that's everything.
Hooray.
Maybe there were... is there anything else that got updated in Terraria?
Wait.
I was just trying to
Terraria.
There was a few other little bits and pieces, like actual other enemies on the surface and weird jungle. I guess I didn't talk about when they updated jungle, because there used to be an underground jungle, but now the underground jungle extends onto the surface, which makes it significantly easier to find, because it used to just be entirely enclosed underground and you just have to sort of vaguely guess where it was and dig into it. And now it's like it goes up to the surface, so you can just dig down from there.
Okay, that's a bit better. Is that like an extension to the mushroom forest, you mean, or is it?
No, it's a different kind of jungle. The mushroom underground forest is like a separate type of terrain.
Yeah.
Weird glowing mushroom. Actually, the biome elements of Terraria have been getting quite extensive now. Again, overtaking Minecraft, because it's like, now deserts in Terraria have cactuses in them. And actually have a reason for existing, because cactuses are used in making the potions or whatever.
Cool.
And like floating islands.
Cacti.
As long as they introduce penguins at some point.
Yeah, I wonder if there will be an Arctic. There's already sharks down in the ocean, and jellyfish. And coral, which is used for another one of the potions. So again, it's like overtaking it. I'm not sure how an Arctic biome would fit, though, because you're not really going north or south. But then again, I guess in Minecraft, it's just like, here is some random snow area. So I guess it's the same element.
It'll probably be fine. Or just make it, so there's a really high up area.
Or they could just do it like how Dwarf Fortress does it, where like one end of the map is hot and the other end is cold. And then it gradiates between them.
It could be an option. But maybe sort of like randomised biomes or
gradient biomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
As long as you mush your face in it.
If you like it.
Yeah, if you like it. Don't do it otherwise.
No, it might look a bit silly otherwise. Although you are still ruining it if you mush your face in it. So then, if you don't like it...
If you don't like it, mush your face in it only harder.
You can show your disgust by mushing your face in it. It's like, if you want to get involved in it, mush your face in it.
If you have an opinion about it, mush your face in it. Right, I'm done, and it's way too warm in here, so let's hurry up and finish this goddamn podcast.
Quite hot.
It is getting quite boily.
Yeah.
But that's the side effect of summer, don't you know?
Yeah, we're going to be fucked. We need like a fan or something for our next recording.
We can't have a fan though because everyone can hear it.
Yeah, that's
We
no
need a
good.
silent fan.
Nah, we'll just...
You need a Dyson silent fan.
They're expensive, those things.
Are they silent though?
They're not that quiet. No.
Well, I'm sure they're not quite on a microphone where air goes past it all the time. Don't blow your steady air all
That's
over
not
us.
helping. Ah, it's been in your warm, moist lungs.
Moist.
So, Rob,
What have
Kev,
you been playing?
What have you been playing?
I've not got much time to talk about this, which is probably to your benefit because I've not been playing much.
Well, yeah.
Pretty
we
much my
figured.
entire time has been on Valkyria Chronicles.
Indeed.
I watched you play an epic, a ridiculously long mission again.
Well, most missions do last well over an hour towards what I'm
but that
assuming
one-
is now the end of the game.
That one that I was watching was quite a lot more than an hour.
Yeah, no, that was a couple of hours, that one. There's been some more a bit like that where there was one mission in particular that lasted a couple of hours, mainly because the start of it is fucking harsh. All your guys are out in the open at the start, and the enemy boss character can shoot across the entire length of the level right at you at that start point. So unless you move all your dudes to safety, you're going to lose a lot of dudes at the start. And then I remembered I had smoke bombs, so I could hide them. So I basically wasted a fuck ton of time forgetting that I had smoke rounds.
Tactics.
Again, that was another one of those things where I didn't there was an obvious mechanic that had only really been used in one mission up to this point, and then it's like, oh wait, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that was a great help. It's lengthy, this thing. I mean, I'm now 30 hours in, and there's still more to do. I've only done half the skirmish missions.
And you haven't been replaying anything either.
No, I haven't been. Other than that one time where I failed a number of times. Yeah, I haven't really been replaying. I've got a few more side missions to do. These are different from the skirmishes. You get these side reports that you can buy that offer you an extra mission most of the time. Like there was that one about Largo, and he was very passionate about stopping the Imperial troops from stopping the transport of vegetables. So you do that mission,
He
and
fucking loves vegetables.
he fucking loves vegetables. So that unlocks his capability of when you're in the countryside of going vegetables, and then getting a random boost. It's like those random boosts get even more fucked up as the game goes on. Like there's
I think vegetables is pretty fucked up. As
vegetables. There's one character in particular who's just a little bit creepy. It's one of the engineers who's a girl called Dallas. But it's like she has her abilities are, or a couple of her potentials are Alicia lover, so it's like yay lesbians, and the other one is fancies women
and dislikes boys.
and dislikes boys. Yeah, so it's like yay lesbians. But the thing she says when she gets fancies women actually kicks in is just that little bit weird. She just sort of goes, "It's our own secret garden," and it's just like what? It's just like what?
Ew. Secret garden.
They just can't help but sort of go, that's a bit awkward.
There's lots of bushes in this garden, are there?
I don't want to know. Anyway. But, yeah, it's still going on. It's got to the point where I think about halfway through the game, or what I think is halfway through the game, you've pretty much discovered every mechanic there is. Not much has really opened up. You get to the stage where you level up your characters enough that they become elites, and that gives them new abilities, of which the only useful one is the ability for scouts to throw grenades for a longer distance. If they get a grenade launcher.
That sounds
the
useful.
Round Greaser! Which you saw me use earlier.
Actually useful, yeah.
That's actually useful.
Get them to stand up out of the grass.
Yeah, you get a flamethrower for the shock troopers, which is fucking terrible. You might as well just shoot them in the face. And it's a short range. Yeah, it's a short range area effect weapon. I mean, you can hit more than one person with your sweep, but it just doesn't do enough damage unless you put some serious points into upgrading it. So you might as well just shoot people in the face, which is what I'm doing. And you do get a second tank at the halfway point, which is quite nice.
Is it getting harder?
As I said, there's
just
been a couple of missions where that thrown in where they have quite a spike until you figure out what it is you need to do to get around them.
Okay.
But the way with a lot of these missions work is sort of like standard strategy affair, where towards the end of the mission, unless they throw in a curveball story event, by the end of the mission you're quite on top of the enemy. So it's like the last few turns or something become quite easy because if you've planned it well and you've executed it well, then there's nothing much they can do. So it's just
it doesn't have a kind of it's like, Command & Conquer 1, you had to find the last enemy on the map and kill them, and then in more modern ones, it's like, oh yeah, you've won. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only been like that one side mission I was playing earlier, which was actually to kill everyone on the level.
Right.
And at a certain point the level happens and they all start running away, so it's like, fuck, can't let them escape.
Right, but usually you don't have to defeat every bad
No,
guy.
usually it's just get to the objective.
Right.
Well, there's been a couple where it's destroy a major target, but not every target.
Yeah.
Like, destroy the big fuck-off tanks that are coming from in a pincer movement from each end of the level.
With constantly
Constant
respawning
respawning enemies, yeah, that one took fucking ages. And that's why Zach understands that Vise from Skies of Arcadia is like the most fucking awesome character
He was
ever.
totally owning everything somehow.
He's unstoppable, and he's awesome as well, because he's like, every time something happens, he's like really like, ha ha! It's like when you shoot at people at point blank range, or throw a grenade at them, or do anything, he pretty much just goes, dance, punk! Which is awesome.
Yeah, he was totally destroying
And
everything.
he loves getting shot at. It's just bizarre.
It was just funny how we... I don't know, it must have just been a very convenient coincidence that one bit of cover that you put him in was in the exact location where every enemy was just walking straight up to it.
Yeah, and it's just like, hello, die! Yeah, so Vise is amazing. He's also great because he's also quite a strong character in the sense that he's effective, but he's not one of those characters that has... There's a few of the main story characters have this thing where they grant you an extra command point, which is like your currency of what you're allowed to do on a turn-by-turn basis.
Right.
And it's like some of the story characters, like Rosie, Alicia, and Largo, for instance, all give you an extra command point if you have them on the field. Vise isn't one of these people, so you don't have to feel so bad if he gets fucked up. So you just send him into most scenarios, and he wins most scenarios. So it's like, that's awesome. I can keep my other team just standing about, giving me extra points.
And he has pretty good potentials as well.
Yeah, like super damage is quite effective, and as I say,
So what is
challenge,
the potential exactly? It's
a potential is a special bonus or detriment. There can be bad ones that happen under certain circumstances and or randomly.
Right.
So his more random one is like super damage, where he just goes, "It's a bad day to mess with me," and then just owns everything.
Okay.
And another one of his good ones is if he's walking into a lot of oncoming fire, he goes, "Hoo-hoo, our hero's in trouble now," and gets like extra defense, so he just puts up with it. So his abilities are amazing, basically. They're just like, charge the fuck in, which is great. That's basically my tactic for the game with him, is like, charge the fuck in.
Potential.
Yeah, potential.
Potential the fuck in.
But yeah, you don't have much control of those. They just sort of happen. Like the fancies women thing is a potential, or Alicia lover. And it's
But those are more situational.
yeah, you have to be near. There are a few situational ones as well, like likes men, hates the Darksons. You know, the racist undertones return. So some characters sort of don't get on if they're near the Darksons. They go, yeah. Although a few characters lose that ability later on, so they just don't mind. Obviously, Veggie Maniac is quite a random one. There's some super strange ones, like Welkin has country bred. Oh no, it's not country. It's nature lover. So he'll be driving around the field, and every now and then he'll just go, "Gotta love nature," and then he gets like a bonus if you're like driving around in fields and stuff.
That's cool.
And Alicia has one. I think Alicia's is country bred, where you'll walk around and everybody goes, "Can't beat the smell of fresh soil." Gets like a bonus. So there's some random things. But the best bit of speech in the game, and I showed Dan this earlier because it's amazing. It's like when you get
Commendation.
yeah, you get called into the audience of Princess Cordelia, and she sort of basically goes, "In honour of your manifold accomplishments, please accept this honour." And it's like, we've already said honour twice, so what does Welkin respond to that with? It's an honour! And it's like, yes, I just said that.
Yes, it is an honour.
I thought that's great. It is a good game, it is quite lengthy. And actually, the more I play it, the more I can sort of see how it actually would work on a handheld. It's like my initial, problems.
Go and play Advance Wars again.
Well, exactly. If Advance Wars works on a handheld, I sort of like my initial worries with it being a console game sort of weren't founded.
Well,
so 2 and 3 on the PSP will probably be alright.
It was like what I was thinking earlier about how there clearly needs to be an Advance Wars 3DS.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously, they have to have a new advance wars for the new DS.
Yeah.
But I was like, how would you... It's like, I was trying to think, because obviously the idea of the 3DS now is every game has to implement one of the stupid features, like the 3D or the gyroscope.
Yeah.
They all have to be 3D, right?
I don't think they all do
mandatory,
have to be
isn't it?
totally 3D. You can just have some throwaway 3D and then have most of the game be
Yeah,
2D.
presumably that'd be a bit restrictive if Nintendo forced you to make it 3D.
But, so I was thinking, like, how could Advance Wars possibly implement one of these stupid features in order so that it can come out? But then I just thought, well, obviously what it can do is just be like Valkyria Chronicles, where you have your basic normal 2D top-down Advance Wars square-based view, but then when you put in the order, it zooms into an actual 3D landscape, and then you see the guys run around and
moving.
shoot.
Yeah, well, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
That's basically how they have to do it now.
Yeah.
Hurry up!
I had a go
Hurry
on
up,
a
bitches.
I had a go on a 3DS in a shop, and I think it might. I could
Breaking
only,
news!
I could only move the slider up a tiny bit because it went out of focus really quick. But I think that was thinking about it. That's because, of course, it was attached to the thing, and you couldn't move it up to your face. So I presume if you move the console closer, you can move the slider higher
and lean forwards like
No.
Well, you know what you got to do if you like it. You got to make
Smash your
your
face.
face.
That is true. It's actually true. That's what I should have done. Yeah, played a bit of Pilot Wings. It was Pilot Wings. Yep.
It was a game.
Didn't make me want to get it, of course, but that's the 3DS for you.
Apparently, Ocarina of Time is what will make you want to get it. Even
Well,
though it's a
I've
game
already-
you've played so many times before.
I've played that a lot of times, to be fair, and not even a long time because I played the GameCube port, so it's not.
I guess.
It's not even. We're going back that far to since I last played Ocarina of Time, so
But it's better.
yeah, one day I'll get it and play through it on the 3DS, but it won't be for a while. I'm thinking I'm actually quite, having watched all the videos of the PS Vita, I'm actually interested now, despite the fact that I was saying that I wasn't.
You're actually, out of the three of us, the one that's more likely to have the correct scenario to use it as
I
well.
do have this commute thing, and I could just play Wipeout on it, which would be quite good, I think. Even if Wipeout was the only good game that ever came out on that system, I think I'd still... And Little Big Planet would be quite fun. And it just looks like a nice piece of kit. And Uncharted looks pretty cool. I like the touch screen stuff. I don't think it's going to be...
I don't know. Well, the touchscreen conceptual stuff, I wasn't so sure about the climbing via touch.
Yeah,
stuff,
I
but-
agree. I would just ignore that because they made it completely optional. What did they said their philosophy was play the way you want to, didn't they? So that sounds nice. But the touchscreen stuff on the edge of the screen did seem quite good. That you could just lift your thumb off the thumbstick and you could just press onto the screen to an extent. So yeah, I'm
Does
quite...
Ocarina of Time, out of interest, have a special name, or is it just Ocarina of Time?
3D.
3D.
Oh, they did add 3D to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes tagging it easier.
Or more confusing for the database.
No, it'll be easy for the database. Anyway,
Once you finish typing the whole thing.
yeah.
You can't semi-type search it.
Anyway, 3 minutes.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of this one.
So we can get out of this goddamn room.
It's very warm.
Fuck.
Yes.
Well, we can open some windows and
Yeah.
so the children don't make noises.
Children.
Or make noises that the internet can hear.
Yes.
Or of people funking their way past.
Yes.
I guess they have like...
R&B
I
cars.
think there's special air conditioning in studios that makes it a nice temperature, but quiet.
Presumably you
most
just have
building
events
air conditioning
with
is silent, really, isn't it?
Well,
No,
No, air
not
conditioners
really.
can be quite loud.
Well, it
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah, but they must have to have special considerations.
You
for
probably just have a
radio.
series of vents in the ceiling with an aircon unit a long way away.
Yeah, probably.
Or if it's a big enough building.
And lots of insulation and stuff. Yeah.
Well, if it's insulated from the inside, it'll be insulated from the outside.
Yeah. that's what I
Then
mean.
you're only dealing with body heat. You're not dealing with summer, which is what's hitting us at the moment.
Yeah, rays coming through the window. Saying, go outside, don't play computer games. Or saying, no!
Screw you.
shut all the curtains.
React with my skin.
Play Valkyria Chronicles.
They can't be pickles, man.
It'd be like facing it. Oh.
If you like it, then it's really Mr. Fashion, isn't it?
Don't be mad when you see it.
Mr. Fashion.
So yes, thanks for joining us.
Dobo.
Domo, arigato. And
And we've still got like 2 minutes, of course. We're never on time to finish correctly.
no.
Even after our momentarily stupidity.
It's an honour.
He should be looking at it. He should like get it down and look at it and go, "It's an honour."
He gets it. He looks at it and then just goes, "You can have it back."
It's an honour.
He's like, "Fuck that." That's a pretty shit honour. As far as honours goes.
Upon my own honour, this is lame.
Manifold accomplishments. I don't actually know what the word manifold means. I keep thinking it's part of a craft or something.
Well, it is, but that's not what it means in that context. Manifold is like an array. It's like a bunch of things.
For your bunch of accomplishments, I guess. Yeah.
Words.
I'm lending.
You're lending.
Lending.
You're lending.
I'm lending you.
You're lending some stupidity.
I'm lending you my educational requirements.
This is the greatest last 5 minutes of any podcast in history, I think.
We're really bad at ending.
Good ears.
Good ears, everyone.
Wind it.
Join us again next time on the Saladcast for what?
I don't think there's any. Yeah, I might start with
more games and more random crap.
The conclusion of Valkyria Chronicles, or as Naomi calls it, Valkyria Chronicles.
Now all we have to do this evening is switch on the headline set of Beyonce and sing a little. If you like it, then you ought to mash your face in it along. So, bye everybody. Bye.
Say goodbye for 2 seconds.
Bye.
Bye. If you liked it, then you should have mushed your face in it.